Marvel. The devastation of natural disasters begins. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101. The Elder's Definition of Natural Disasters. Tang Feng actually understands the Elder words, and he is also afraid of him. He is afraid that he will use the power of the natural disaster to forcefully and accidentally destroy the planet, just like the battle against the Blood God, borrowing the power of the center of the earth to move the pole. If the borrowed gravity is a little bit more and the time lasts a little bit longer, it will really cause serious consequences. The chaos of gravity, the rampage, even if it does not reach the point of destroying the planet, will wipe out all living beings on the planet, including humans. Tang Feng knows his own affairs well, so he is willing to accept the Elder's teachings. So next, Tang Feng will stay in Camartage for a while to receive teachings from the Elder. By the way, I haven't contacted Flicker yet. She must be very worried, and Linger and the others. Do you have any way to communicate with the outside world here? After talking with the Elder, he began teaching the next day. Tang Feng also had a temporary residence in Camartage. Before parting ways with the Elder, he finally patted his forehead and thought of his missing in 907. What will make the twinkle worry them? He quickly asked. There is no signal here, the Elder said indifferently, took out a piece of white paper and a writing brush from the opening, handed it to Tang Feng, and said, "Write a letter, I'll take it to them for you." "Right? Take." Tang Feng silently took the white paper and pen, shook his head and laughed, and understood what the Elder meant, so he could only sit cross-legged on the low table and bury his head writing the letter. "Okay, just give them this letter." After a while, Tang Feng finally finished writing the letter, blew air, folded it into an envelope, wiped his sweat, looking embarrassed. He was really not good at writing calligraphy, and the handwriting was too ugly. The Elder did not despise it. He took the envelope, a circular circle formed around it, and on the other side was a flickering figure. "Take it. This is Tang Feng's letter to you." The Elder took the envelope through the opening and handed it to the Elder. Blinking face. Blinking was startled. The Elder's voice carried an inexplicable power, so she didn't stay away subconsciously, but instead stretched out her hand in a daze, holding the envelope. Blinking. "It's me, I'm fine. I told Linger and the others not to worry. I have something to do now and won't be back for a while, so you can help me inform them. I've probably written it on the envelope, you can see it." 99A. Wait, don't rush to close. 99 Also, that bastard launched the nuclear bomb to blow me up. You must find out, and when I come back, I must make him look good. The opening disappeared, and Tang Feng hurriedly finished his last words. Blinking, she stood on the spot, looked at the envelope, then looked at the surroundings, stunned and dazed the whole time. Where am I? What am I doing? What just happened? After a while, she came back to her senses, holding the envelope tightly. Tears couldn't help but fall, crying and laughing, muttering to herself, "It's okay, it's okay. It was really nice." She looked up at the sky. Even if there was a mushroom cloud that hadn't completely dissipated in the distance in front of her, and the scenery was bad, she still felt good. If there's no news from Tang Feng, she is worried that he might venture into the range of the nuclear explosion and look for Tang Feng's trace. "Hey! I told you, why are you closing it so quickly? You're not finished." Talking to Blink. On Camartage's side, Tang Feng said to the Elder with a dissatisfied face, "When you come back, you will have plenty of time to talk to them. From now on, you will have enough energy to teach you tomorrow." The Elder didn't care and left as he spoke. "Forget it. I have informed them anyway, so let's rest first. Mom, my head hurts." Tang Feng covered his head in pain. There were no outsiders around, and he finally stopped being stubborn, sucking in the air conditioner and screaming in pain, and went to sleep. After a battle, they died and then revived. They finally won and faced the threat of nuclear bombs. They had to use the time of natural disasters to be chaotic and avoid nuclear explosions. Unexpectedly, the Elder was brought out. Then, with the Elder, He came to Kamartaj to receive his teachings and stay for a while. The development of things really surprised him. What happened that day left Tang Feng exhausted, physically and mentally, and death and resurrection made him have a headache and died because it hurt his soul. Now that there were no outsiders, he relaxed and fell into a deep sleep immediately. Even a headache couldn't stop the deep sleep. The next day, noon, Tang Feng fell asleep, not naturally, but woken up by the elder. If the elder hadn't come to call him, he would have slept in it for 3 days and 3 nights. Tang Feng frowned and covered his head. It shouldn't be an illusion. After a night's rest, the headache was a little lighter, proving that rest will make the soul's injuries recover faster. I won't teach you how to exercise control power today. Your soul is still very traumatized. In this state, the effect of the exercise will only be twice the result with half the effort and a waste of time. I will talk to you today to let you understand what your power is, what it does, what harm it does, and how to control and use it. The elder in Tang Feng sat cross-legged and said slowly, "My power? What is there to say? I know, it's not just a calamity, a disaster, a natural disaster. I also know the harm and effect of these forces. I just need to increase the control of the exercise." Tang Feng knocked his head with a headache and said without thinking, "Wrong. It's just that you think you are, but in fact, you don't understand your own power at all." The elder calmly said something that surprised Tang Feng. "Impossible. I can use it instinctively from the moment of awakening power. How could I not understand my own power?" Tang Feng didn't believe it and refuted it on the spot. "Yes, it's just the use of instinct. It seems to understand, but in fact I don't understand it. 99 Just like a bird can fly, does it know how to fly? It's also by instinct," the elder said calmly. Tang Feng narrowed his eyes slightly and straightened his waist. The elder's words made sense. He couldn't help but wonder if it was as the elder said that he didn't understand his own power at all. He believed that the elder would not boast or use words to deceive people. "Then what do you think of my power differently?" Tang Feng thought for a moment, but couldn't think of anything he didn't understand about power, so he had to ask. "There are many different opinions. First of all, it is the catastrophe you named. In my opinion, catastrophe is a type of energy. It is the same as magic power, and it is no different. The difference is that the energy is different. 99 Just like dark magic and light magic, the properties of energy are different and belong to magic." Next comes the definition of catastrophe. In my opinion, the power of catastrophe has already involved the power of destiny. The formation of catastrophe is like fate in the dark. A series of coincidences are arranged, and finally 4.7 forms all kinds of catastrophes. There are also natural disasters. Why must there be 10 kinds of natural disasters? Who stipulated it? It's just that you stipulated that you feel the power of the 10 kinds of natural disasters, and you mistakenly think that there are only 10 kinds of natural disasters. In fact, natural disasters represent a kind of despair, great terror, and a destructive force that wipes out everything, which is why they are called natural disasters. Volcanic eruptions, typhoons, earthquakes, planetary explosions, etc., are both disasters and natural disasters. As long as the power is strong enough to destroy everything, it is a natural disaster. Natural disasters represent an irresistible force. As long as you can do it, it is a natural disaster in the eyes of others. If you can't do it, even if you use a natural disaster now, in my eyes, it is just a disaster that hurts me. Chapter 102 Destiny. The elder's words were like morning bells and twilight drums, causing Tang Feng's mind to pound, as if he was being empowered by an expert. A bolt of lightning piercing through the night, widening his vision and allowing him to break free from his narrow thoughts. "Come and see a path to heaven." Tang Feng rested his chin on one hand and fell into deep thought. The elder has left, and today's teaching is over. Although there is no real teaching, his words are very important to Tang Feng, making Tang Feng understand what his power is. Only by truly understanding his own strength and exercising it will he progress faster. It's like a math problem. Although you can solve it, you don't understand what it means. You just memorize it with force. In the end, the same math problem, but with a different expression, still won't work. It turns out that this is my true strength and my future path. Thank you, Elder. After thinking for a long time, Tang Feng finally woke up from his contemplation and let out a sigh. He really got it. Taking Ziyu's yawn as an analogy, was an ignorant seeker who had just entered the path of Xuanxian. The words of the Elder are a heavenly book that directly points to becoming immortal, allowing Tang Feng to directly understand the path of immortality, know how to continue, and eventually become immortal. Combining the words of the Elder and his own understanding, Tang Feng closed his eyes and realized his own strength, and couldn't help but have a bright smile on his face. The power of disaster, even if it is the characteristic of destruction, is still a kind of energy after all. There are thousands of roads, all the way to the same destination, and will converge into one road in the end. The Elder was right. For Tang Feng, the power of disaster is the power of disasters and natural disasters. For her, it is also a magical power, and it is no different from the magic of Weishandi or the magic of the dark alien dimension. They all belong to the power of magic. Then there is the disaster ability. Tang Feng, with the authority of disaster, can create all kinds of disasters. Even with the power of the ancient, it is inevitable to be affected. The disaster skill, the process of formation, is not like the fate in the dark. As long as Tang Feng uses it, no one can escape. The difference is that weak people have no strength to resist and can only wait to die. Powerful people, such as the Blood God, Dracula, the Elder, etc., can rely on their powerful strength to break free from the mercy of fate. No, Tang Feng added in his heart, the disaster that can be broken free is simply not strong enough. If the disaster is strong, no one will break free. That is, the disaster will become a natural disaster, bringing great terror and mass extinction. In this way, disasters can also become natural disasters. In this way, there are not 10 kinds of natural disasters, but any kind of disaster can evolve into a natural disaster. Thinking of this, Tang Feng took a deep breath, closed his eyes, concentrated his body and mind, and integrated into the power of the natural disaster and carefully perceived it. Perhaps it was because of his open mind that he finally got rid of the restriction of a single leaf, or it was an illusion. He seemed to sense a mysterious power that was far above and all things were below it, which could not be coveted nor blasphemed. The top 10 natural disasters he felt before are all among them. The power of various disasters and the characteristics of many types of natural disaster powers are all in that power. In a trance, Tang Feng lost his senses and returned again, only feeling the power of the top 10 natural disasters. It's not an illusion. Water leaves a mark and wind leaves a feeling. Even if it was a momentary induction, Tang Feng deeply remembered that kind of power, a power called fate. Yes, that's right, the word fate appeared in his heart instinctively, as if it were a natural thing. So, my essential power is actually the power of destiny? Just because my ability is not enough, I am not qualified to know it, let alone use it. 99 Tang Feng shook his head and smiled bitterly, muttering to himself, deeply shocked. He was too weak, and even his own strength looked down on him. The original power was the power of destiny. Because he was not qualified to use it, the power of destiny split off some power, lowered the level, and became the power of natural disasters. Even so, Tang Feng couldn't easily use the power of natural disasters. He had no choice but to degrade it again and become the ability of disaster, calamity. It is better to say that it is an alternative force of destiny. Just because Tang Feng's ability is not enough, it is the power drawn from the degraded natural disasters, from the disasters that have descended and descended again. So it is no longer a pure force of destiny, it became a force of pure destructiveness. The power of destiny contains all the forces of the world, and destruction is also in it. Disasters and natural disasters represent destruction, and only the power of disaster has the characteristics of destruction. For the power of disaster to once again become pure power of destiny, unless it is directly drawn from the power of destiny. Currently, this is impossible. Tang Feng already knew the future path. First, he became a level 5 mutant and mastered the 10 natural disasters he perceived, which proved that he was qualified to perceive other natural disasters or have enough ability to elevate disasters to natural disasters. At the 5th level, he became the overlord of the universe. From then on, he could summon natural disasters at will, without any further limitations. Just like Kendo, before the 5th level, it is the realm of sharp swords and heavy swords. After the 5th level, it is the realm of wooden swords, and everything is a sword. Likewise, disasters are natural disasters. After the 5th level is the 6th level, which is the level of the true God. At that time, he is qualified to contact the true power of destiny. This is the path I will take in the future. Tang Feng stood up from the cross-legged posture, pushed open the wooden door, and looked at the scenery on the horizon. He only felt that his eyes were open, gentle and joyful, like his heart, vision, and thoughts. This is a very important metamorphosis, because he understands his own power. From now on, every time he uses power, he will think from the power of destiny. Even if he is not qualified to use it, it will not prevent him from using power like disasters and natural disasters. And it will be more useful. For example, if a fat man comes over with a tray of food, if it falls, is it fate? Tang Feng pondered in his heart, and the disaster began. With a thud, Fatty arrived at Tang Feng's residence and was about to speak when he stepped on a round stone and fell unsteadily. The tray fell to the side, and the food also fell to the ground. Your downfall is the arrangement of fate. Tang Feng put his hands behind his back, looked towards the horizon, and said in an ethereal tone, "Yes, fate also predestines you to be hungry today." The fat man stood up from the ground, wiped his clothes with his hands, rolled his eyes, and walked away humming. Don't think of him as an idiot. His name is Wang, but he is a disciple of the elder, proficient in all kinds of magic and martial arts. How could he fall because of a small stone? He had clearly felt an inexplicable force affecting his behavior just now. He also knew something about Tang Feng, and immediately judged that it was Tang Feng's ghost. He is an honest person and will not have any conflicts with the guests the elder invited back, so he left without looking out of sight and out of mind. Tang Feng looked at Wang Zuoan's back, then lowered his head to look at the dirty food, touched his nose, and smiled dryly. Well, now there is no need to eat today. Chapter 103 The Elder's Teachings. It's nothing if you don't eat for a day, even if you don't eat forever. It's not a problem if you've transformed into an elemental body. The power of disaster is also a force of destiny. That is to say, your body is already the body of destiny. Therefore, it can be broken and annihilated, but it won't disappear completely, and it can still be resurrected and regenerated. Unless it is the power to break destiny, it can really kill Tang Feng. Realizing this, Tang Feng was really not worried about dying. Fate can be resisted, but no one can break destiny, and no one will be above destiny. It can be done, and it is only possible that fate has chosen to do so. Just as the chicken came first, then the egg. There is a contradiction between eggs and chickens. Fate is unpredictable, the most mysterious and powerful force. Perhaps everything you do, whether it is against the arrangement of fate or out of detachment, is the decision of fate. It's just like me. Maybe it's fate's arrangement to let the king fall. Tang Feng touched his stomach and chuckled softly. He always felt strange if he didn't eat for a day. He wasn't hungry, but the eating habits he had maintained for many years made him feel hungry. TSK, whether you're hungry or not, you should go find something to eat first, and then go to the elders' class. 35 Tang Feng said, according to the observation in the exploration field. He walked towards the place where he could eat. He walked very easily and carefree. After learning that it was arranged by fate, he didn't have the heavy heart of becoming a puppet at all. When a person is born into the world, he is subject to various restrictions. When you were born, let your parents discipline you, go to school, let your teachers discipline you, go out of society, and let your boss discipline you. No matter who you are, there are all kinds of restrictions. Odin, Ancient One and Thanos are so strong, they are still bound by fate, become true gods, and can't get rid of them. Compared to them, Tang Feng is already very lucky. He awakening is the power of fate, and he also said that he will have the opportunity to control his fate. At that time, don't talk about getting rid of fate. He represents fate and is one with fate. Why should he get rid of it? Tang Feng has an optimistic attitude, and when he thinks that one day in the future, he will control everyone's fate, and his mood is ecstatic. What Odin, what Thanos, What true God? Whatever they want, they are at Tang Feng's mercy. Okay, stop laughing. What are you thinking? Seriously, with a snap, Ancient One patted Tang Feng on the head, bringing him back to his senses. Today is the third day, and Ancient One has also begun to teach Tang Feng how to exert control. As a student, Tang Feng did not listen carefully, so Ancient One made his move unceremoniously. Cough. I'm sorry, I didn't pay attention just now. Can you say it again? Tang Feng quickly suppressed his messy thoughts and said with a smile, I thought to myself, for the sake of the exercise you taught me, just pat me on the head and forget it. Your calamity training method is similar to my magic power. You have to try to concentrate on your mind, control it with concentration, and use it, and you will be able to improve quickly. To do this, when using the power of disasters and natural disasters, you can do your best not to affect others, not to be careless and affect the stability of the planet. 35 The elder looked at Tang Feng and calmly said the previous words again. Is that so? I usually focus on mind control, but am I not making fast progress? Moreover, disasters and natural disasters are very difficult to control. They are destructive forces, and it is difficult to control them without hurting innocent people. Tang Feng spread his hands, shrugged, and sighed. How focused are you normally? Use the power of disaster and show it to me. 99 The elder said non-committally. Okay. 35 Tang Feng nodded directly, frowned tightly, and focused on using calamity to control calamity to form various shapes. Well done. The elder's praise came. That's definitely it. Tang Feng replied triumphantly. Are you focused now? The elder suddenly asked. Tang Feng was stunned. The smile on his face diminished. Looking at the calamity in his hand, he was silent. He was just distracted by talking. How could he be focused? What about you now? How focused are you? I think you are completely distracted. The elder shook his head and said, It's different. You're playing tricks on me. If you don't speak up to interfere with me, you'll never be distracted. 9 Tang Feng reluctantly retracted his calamity and retorted, It's not my problem. It's your problem. It's your lack of focus that's so easily affected by me. True concentration should not be affected no matter what the situation is, the elder said solemnly. Tang Feng said silently, opened his mouth to speak, thought for a moment, but still accepted the elder's statement. Indeed, the elder is right. If it is true concentration, it will not be easily disturbed. Then what do you need to do to concentrate and not be disturbed? Tang Feng asked humbly. I definitely have a way. As long as you pass my training, you will not only be able to control the power of disasters finely, but you will also be able to control the power of disasters and natural disasters very strongly. At least you won't be tied down. For example, in the battle between you and the blood god, the gravitational force used caused a global gravitational chaos. Speaking of this, the elder glanced at Tang Feng, causing him to touch his head in embarrassment. The elder continued, in that battle, if your control is strong enough, you can use gravity to deal with the blood god, while distracting the planet's gravity control, preventing gravity from rioting. In this way, even if you use more gravity and last longer, you can use it with confidence and don't have to worry about affecting the entire planet. 99 inches. It's not that the power of natural disasters is strong, but your control is not strong and your heart is not strong enough. The elder shook his head lightly, nods. His eyes were calm, as if to say, young man, if you can't do it yourself, don't make excuses. You said that my control is not good, I admit it. What do you say that the heart is not strong enough? What the hell is this? Tang Feng rolled his eyes and said unhappily, the obvious meaning. My opinion of you is that a child with great power is limited in doing things, is immature in thinking, and does not even understand his own power. The result of unrestrained use of power is to harm others and himself. If your heart is strong enough, coupled with your strength, then you will be considered a truly strong man. The elder is frank and made his attitude clear. If he underestimates you, he is just a child. Forget it. I can't tell you anything. Continue with what you just did. Quickly tell me how to exercise yourself. Tang Feng waved his hand and shrugged. Heart, strong. In his heart, He thoughtfully recalled the elder's words deeply. Chapter 104 Results of the half-year exercise. Under the guidance of the elder, Tang Feng has learned a lot, and the control of the disaster force has been meticulous. The attention is also very concentrated, and he is no longer easily disturbed by the outside world, because he clearly understood the nature of power. After a period of exploration, along with the exercise of control, the use of disasters and natural disasters has also made him more and more proficient. During this process, he also discovered more uses of disasters. He became more and more accustomed to a phrase. When he used disasters, he said, "Everything is the arrangement of fate." When Tang Feng was immersed in the exercise and could not extricate himself, time had passed quietly for half a year. Dressed in a wizard robe, with black and shiny broken hair, Tang Feng's current appearance is similar to that of the wizards of Kamar-Taj. For the mages of Kamar-Taj, Tang Feng is qualified to accept the elder's teaching, and they automatically regard Tang Feng as the elder's disciple, so they respect Tang Feng and never treat Tang Feng as an outsider. In fact, the elder only taught Tang Feng, never saying to accept Tang Feng as a disciple. Tang Feng has followed fate. She is willing to teach and study, and it doesn't matter whether she is a teacher or not. As the elder's apprentice, she always felt strange. She had always had the confidence that she was not weaker than others. Even if the elder was strong, she believed that one day she would surpass him. When you worship the elder as a teacher, you will feel that he is a head lower than her, a generation lower than her, and is no longer in equal status to 910. Therefore, seeing that the elder did not have the idea of asking her to be a teacher, she felt relieved in her heart. I remember hiding here. At the same time as the sound appeared, a circle of light appeared out of nowhere, and a hand stretched out from it, right at the edge of a cupboard. This was a room with simple decoration, about 30 square meters, neither big nor small. The impressive thing about this room is that there are many books, all of which are beautiful magic books. I found it. This fat man can really hide. I saw a hand from the cupboard, found a packet of snacks, then retracted his hand and backed away. The opening disappeared. After a while, the fat king opened the door and walked in. He looked at her with his eyes half closed, keenly aware that something was wrong. Stunned in the snacks I just bought in New City are gone. Tang Feng, you bastard always steal my snacks and eat them. It's too much. The king's roar spread everywhere. Here we go again. Another disciple of the Ancient One. Mordo shook his head. He was used to it, ignored it and continued to learn new magic. The rest of the magicians looked at each other and smiled, each doing their own thing. Tang Feng and Wang's farce, a jet, happened every few days, and they watched it as a drama. Tang Feng's arrival has brought some changes to Kamar-Taj, which has always been peaceful, with more vitality and less tranquility, which is a good thing. HMPH, who told you to starve me? And if you don't give me food, I will steal your snacks to eat. Tang Feng sat happily on the rock, leaning on the protruding place with his back facing up, cocked his legs and ate snacks comfortably. It's really fragrant and delicious. It tastes like New City. Half a year has passed. Tang Feng misses Linger and others. It is worth mentioning that, in half a year, I also learned some magic. Because the elder did not want Tang Feng to mess with the time of the natural disaster, the most important magic taught was time magic. As a result, Tang Feng has a deep understanding of time, even if the use of time is chaotic. As long as you pay attention and do not use it recklessly, you can usually use it against the enemy. He also learned some space magic. With the sling ring given to him by the elder, Tang Feng can also open the portal and reach any place at will. He also dabbled in the rest of the magic. After all, he is not a magic genius, he just needs to understand. He does not need to be proficient. Anyway, he is not using magic to fight the enemy. His means of dealing with the enemy, the power he relies on, is always the force of disaster, natural disaster, and ultimately the force of destiny. I don't know when I can truly use the power of destiny, which is a deep expectation. In the process of learning magic, he was pleasantly surprised to discover a very useful magic, which is shape-shifting. Shape-shifting is the magic that transforms the body through magic, thereby realizing the magic of changing appearance. If you are proficient in shape-shifting, What will you be like? You have the power of a shapeshifter. This is definitely limited, and it is impossible to have power above level 4. Tang Feng didn't care about this function. What he cared about was that the shape-shifting technique could transform the body. The shape-shifting magic, coupled with the original meticulous control of the power of disaster, finally allowed Tang Feng to solve the problem of his body. As long as the appearance remains unchanged, body transformation and elementalization will not be affected. The only change is that he manages to make saliva and sweat, which will not have catastrophic power. So, there is no problem in that regard. That is to say, his surname Fu is back. The matter of surname Fu has been pressing on Tang Feng's heart. Very heavy and very important. Whether it is the power of destiny or exercise, it can be put aside first. Only the blessing of surname is always put first. God is pitiful. After solving the physical problem, that day, he was so excited that he kept yelling at the wolf, making the mages of Kamartaj think that Tang Feng had become a lunatic. Only the elder smiled and understood what happened to Tang Feng. With Time Gem, he really has nothing to hide from her. Even Tang Feng is no exception. Tang Feng knew this and cursed inwardly. She is a voyeur. He also knew that, possessing the power of destiny, he could only give the elder a glimpse of the flow of his time when he was weak. When he becomes a level 5 mutant and becomes stronger, even if Ancient One has a Time Gem, he won't be able to spy on his time flow so easily anymore. Kaka, while reminiscing about the past, while eating snacks, unknowingly finished the snacks. Huh? No, this snack is really delicious. I can open the portal anyway, or else, go to New City to buy some snacks and come back to eat. 35 Tang Feng said to himself. His heart was about to move, a little tangled and hesitant. Before that, Ancient One had given him a strong order to allow him to concentrate on his training, that he would not leave Kamartaj under any circumstances until he had finished his studies. If he left, he would never have to return and would not teach again. With Ancient One, even with Sling Ring, the portal will open. Tang Feng suppressed his thoughts and never left Kamartaj. I have to admit that Ancient's teaching one is really important to him, and he really doesn't want to leave. Tang Feng, leave if you want, and it's time to leave. At this moment, the elder appeared behind Tang Feng without warning, standing at the corner of the sharp rock, standing against the wind, with an ethereal tone. Leave. Tang Feng turned his head sharply, stunned, lost in thought. Yes, it's time to learn. You have learned it. You can leave. 95 The elder chuckled and nodded lightly. Tang Feng came back to his senses, took a deep look at the elder, and finally nodded lightly, smiled and said, "Well, I see. Thank you for your teaching over the past 6 months." 35 With that, he solemnly bowed and thanked him. The elder nodded slowly, sighed softly, waved his hand arrogantly, opened the portal, and left. Chapter 105, Meeting After Half a Year. I'm leaving. Tang Feng stood on the edge of the cliff, his hands clasped behind him, standing against the wind, looking reluctant to part. Understood. Let's go. It's great. The thief who often stole my snacks has finally left. Wang stood behind Tang Feng, looking impatient, waving his hands and urging Tang Feng to leave. Your words are too hurtful. After all, we've known each other for half a year, and knowing that I'm leaving, weren't you planning to give me a parting gift? Tang Feng pretended to be sad and slapped you hung, as if Wang was going too far in being too ruthless. Enough about you, I know you. In the past 6 months, I've been unlucky. Every time I bought snacks, I let you steal it all. If I hadn't hit you, I would have hit you very hard. Wang Yu said more angrily, rolling up his sleeves on both sides, revealing 2 strong arms, looking like he was going to hit someone at any time. Humphrey, you're too embarrassed to say it. Who told you to make me hungry? Tang Feng narrowed his eyes slightly, took a few steps forward without showing weakness, and rolled up his sleeves, also with strong arms. I wanted you to be hungry. You were the one who made me fall first. Wang Yu gasped through his nose, blushing, and retorted loudly, who said I did it? Do you have any evidence? Tang Feng refused to admit it and roared loudly. You. Angry at me. Wang Shi pointed directly at Tang Feng. There was really no evidence and he didn't know how to say it. He waved his hands frantically, trying to hit Tang Feng's hateful face. In the end, Wang took action and punched Yu's mouth. Tang Feng's hung damn bastard. This is a special product from my hometown that I have hidden, and I will give it to you. Hurry up and leave. Don't get in the way here. 99 Wang didn't know when to take out a boxed snack, and together with his hand, he pushed it into Yu's mouth. Tang Feng's 99th birthday party was a good one, and he said very sadly, "Oh, I heard that your hometown's specialty is delicious. I have never been able to find it." "Where are you hiding?" Tang Feng flipped through the box and asked in confusion. "I knew for a long time that you were going to steal it, and I hid it in a more secret place." 99 Wang put his hands on his hips and said triumphantly, "Having a hand, it seems that there must be some other place. I haven't found it. One day, I will find this place." Tang Feng touched his chin, smiled and said with a smile, "Don't think about it. Anyway, if you leave, you won't be able to find the place again." Wang raised his chin proudly and affirmed, "That's not necessarily." "Did you forget that I will open the portal? Even if I leave, it will be an instant to return." Tang Feng took out a portal out of thin air with sling ring, turned his head to look at Wang, and said with a smile. Wang's face was stunned and dumbfounded. After thinking about it carefully, it seemed that he was right. Tang Feng has been instructed by the elder. He is no longer an outsider and will not be chased out. Even if he leaves, he can come back at any time. Tang Feng knows how to teleport. What is distance? He has just left Camartage, and can return in the next second. Just thinking of this, Tang Feng, who had just entered the portal and disappeared, appeared again with the portal. "Hey, I'm back again. The specialties from your hometown are delicious. What else?" "I'm leaving now. Just give me another box as a parting gift," Tang Feng said with a smile while eating. "Tang Feng, you bastard, get out of here." Wang went crazy with anger and shouted loudly, then clenched his fists and punched Tang Feng. "Oops, I'm so angry. Let's sneak away first. See you next time." Tang Feng quickly opened the portal, laughed, and left. Half a year of exercise was very boring, and just teasing Fatty King every day made him feel good. Tang Feng left when he felt good, and Wang was very depressed. He stood on the spot and shouted angrily. It took a while for him to calm down. He will bully the honest king. The elder shook his head speechlessly, retracted his gaze, stopped paying attention, continued to stare at the Eye of Agamotto, which is the time gem, and fell into deep thought. With his departure, a big curtain will be opened, many things will change, and the fate of many people will also change. Perhaps, it is time for the destined heir to come to Camartage in advance. The elder's words came out faintly. Tang Feng did not know about the elder's decision. He could not contain his excitement. He passed through the portal and returned to the family headquarters in a flash, where the office was discussing matters. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The table has not been changed yet, and the sofa I once sat on is the same. There are many used teacups and they look clean, proving that someone cleans them every day. 0. Ask for flowers. No matter what is placed here, it is exactly the same as half a year ago, and it seems that it was done deliberately. "Did you do it?" Tang Feng muttered to himself, raised the corner of his mouth and looked at the door. The door opened and a Cayenne came in with a mop. She saw Tang Feng at a glance, lost her mind and dropped the mop. "Blink, I'm back." Tang Feng chuckled and walked towards her. Roar tilde flickering finally recovered, covering her mouth tightly with her hands, crying with joy, and hurriedly ran to Tang Feng and pounced on him. Then, she couldn't hold back her longing for half a year and offered "Don't say it." Although Tang Feng was surprised, he also had a good impression of flickering, and the beautiful woman hugged him, no longer hypocritical, and responded enthusiastically. After a long time, the two finally walked out of the office. Tang Feng had a satisfied smile, but his face was still flushed, and he felt uncomfortable walking. Flicker has no regrets. Half a year of absence, let her understand her heart. She fell in love with Tang Feng, so under the impulse, she simply did as Tang Feng wished. "Okay, for the past 6 months, Sister Linger has been thinking about you. She is in the villa. Go." Blinking helped Tang Feng tidy up his clothes. Seeing that there were no flaws, He was relieved and said softly, "Okay, when I'm done meeting with Linger, I'll tell her what happened to you. Don't be afraid, nothing will happen, Linger will not reject you." Tang Feng said, noticing Flicker's panic. He patted the back of her hand and said comfortingly, "Even if he hasn't seen her for half a year, he has confidence in Linger and believes that Linger will not change much. I don't care whether Linger agrees or not, as long as you keep me in your heart." 99 Flicker doesn't force, but firmly expresses the thoughts in his heart. "Ha ha ha, silly you. You are already my woman, how could you be wronged? You can wait for the good news with peace of mind." Tang Feng touched Flicker's head and waved goodbye. "I hope so." Twinkling looked at Tang Feng's back, her eyes reluctant to part, both anticipation and panic. She knew Linger's situation and was not sure if she would still listen to Tang Feng's words. Chapter 106 Shocking news. Just like the sparkling encounter, when I saw Linger, both Tang Feng and Linger couldn't contain their excitement and strangeness. The two who met again after half a year of separation naturally came together. Still a familiar taste, a familiar tenderness. However, something has changed. Tang Feng touched Linger's soft long hair, thinking to himself, looked at her beautiful face and asked, "Have you recovered your memory in the past 6 months? How did you guess, brother?" Linger raised his face and asked strangely, "I can definitely guess. I'm very familiar with you, and I understand that even after being separated for half a year, I still remember very clearly about you half a year ago." 55 Although you don't look any different now, if you look closely, you'll find that your behavior has changed a little, and 910 is no longer as pure and innocent as before. Tang Feng said with emotion, comparing the Linger before amnesia and the Linger after regaining memory. It is like a comparison between a student and an adult. The appearance and gentleness have not changed, but the thoughts have changed and become more mature. Therefore, even if Linger did not say it, Tang Feng was very aware of it when he was rolling with her. "As expected of my brother, yes, you guessed it right. In the past 6 months, due to frequent transformations, the body transformation has been completed. Among them, the original regeneration skill gradually restored my traumatized brain and brought back the lost memories," Linger said with sadness in her eyes, thinking of the death of her parents. "Since this is the case, what do you think when you regain your memory?" Tang Feng hesitated and worried a little. Linger regained her memory and wondered if she could still be as obedient as before. "PSST," Linger let out a sweet laugh, buried her head in Tang Feng's arms and said, "Brother is so stupid. Even if Linger regains her memory, Linger is still Linger, so he has no idea." Linger still listens to what her brother says. Linger's words contained deep infatuation. She did not lie, and remained the same as her original intention. Even if her memory is restored, it will only let her know who her relatives are, what their previous names were, and what their experiences have been. After her parents were killed, she became a mutant. After losing her memory, she met Tang Feng. After that, it can be said that she was born for a second time. In Linger's heart, before her amnesia, she was an ordinary person, another life, and she had died with her parents. Now she is a third-level mutant, Tang Feng's younger sister, and a freshman. After understanding Linger's mind, Tang Feng no longer cared. Facing Linger's obsession and obedience as always, he could no longer bear love, and started the war again. For a long time, the song ends. Cough. "Linger, I want to tell you something." Afterwards, Tang Feng thought of the matter of flickering, and felt a little embarrassed to face Linger, and spoke hesitantly. Linger is so in love with him, and she is so obsessed with him, but he wants to have flickering and wants to hug her left and right. "I feel sorry for Linger, he is a scum." Brother meant sister flickering? Linger doesn't object. Before Tang Feng could speak, Linger blinked and nodded. "Hey, I haven't said it yet, how did you know?" Tang Feng asked strangely. "Because my elder brother still smelled like my elder sister." Linger smelled it. Linger pointed at Tang Feng's body and said with a wrinkled nose, "Ha ha ha, is that so? I can't even smell it." Tang Feng sniffed, scratched his head, and said embarrassedly. He muttered in his heart that in the past 6 months, his body has become stronger, his strength has reached 35 tons, his 5 senses have also been strengthened, and his sense of smell has also been the same. Unexpectedly, Linger's sense of smell is more sensitive than his own. So, Linger, you already know. Do you really have no objection? Tang Feng carefully confirmed it, for fear that what Linger said was the opposite. In response, Linger shook her head and confirmed her previous words again. Her infatuation with Tang Feng has surpassed everything else. No matter how many women Tang Feng wants to have, as long as he doesn't abandon her and loves her all the time, her new life is all because of Tang Feng. With Linger's words, Tang Feng finally felt relieved. Don't look at how confident he was in front of Blink. In fact, if Linger unexpectedly objected, she really didn't know what to do. In particular, when she found that Linger had regained her memory, she felt a thud in her heart, and was so cold that she was afraid that Linger would not be so obedient. Fortunately, the final ending is perfect. He. Tang Feng smiled and continued to smile happily. She had already called Blink, and after the initial embarrassment, Blink saw that Linger did not blame her. She was still the same as usual, calling her sister affectionately and accepting the fact. In this way, Flicker was relieved and integrated into Tang Feng's big family. Therefore, Tang Feng blinked on the left and Linger on the right, feeling that her life had reached the peak, and couldn't help but shut her mouth happily. I really couldn't keep my mouth shut. Blink fed her grapes and Linger peeled apples for her, really happy. By the way, Black Queen, what about the White Queen and the others? Don't get me wrong, Tang Feng didn't eat in the bowl, thinking about the thoughts outside the bowl. He didn't have to measure himself, and he also thought about the style of the queens. Now that he is very satisfied, he won't think about how many women he will have in the future. He was just surprised that after returning for so long, it was impossible for them not to know about the Dark Queen, and it was unreasonable that they hadn't seen them coming until now. The Dark Queen, the White Queen, Storm Winds and the others, they have all gone out, busy dealing with the mess that Magneto Eric left behind. 35 Blink sighed softly and said with a lonely look, what's going on here? What happened to Magneto Eric? Tang Feng frowned and asked, brother, although I know you are okay, but we can't contact you either. A lot of things have happened in the past 4.7 years. Magneto Eric already carried out his mutant plan, which also failed under the obstruction of the X-Men, and was eventually killed by the captured military, imprisoned. Linger explained on the sidelines. Yes, since Magneto Eric was captured, his Brotherhood, including Mutant Island, has lost its sanctuary and is now in a very bad situation. After nightfall, they are busy with these things during this time. However, we can't help much either. The Brotherhood has fallen apart without Magneto Eric's deterrence. Mutant Island, so far, 2/3 of the mutants have been captured by the military and brought under control. The rest of the mutants, who were also besieged on the island, fled everywhere, and before long, there would be no way to escape and they would be caught. Chapter 107 The Mutants' Bad Situation. Mutant Island is under siege by the army. Don't you care? Tang Feng's face turned pale. He didn't expect to hear about this as soon as he returned, and the good mood he had just had disappeared. Charles' current situation is not good either. He has done a good job of maintaining Magneto Eric, deterring the military, maintaining the Xavier Academy, and then speaking out, shocking and deterring various countries and not letting them be too presumptuous, sighing with a gloomy look. Next, after the two women told you a sentence and a sentence of mine, Tang Feng finally understood the ins and outs of the matter. As he thought, Magneto Eric hurriedly started the experiment before true perfection. For example, the plot of the movie is almost the same. He caught the little naughty boy and carried out the plan at the Statue of Liberty. 3 months ago, countries from all over the world gathered together and took this opportunity to turn their leaders into mutants. The leaders of various countries who have become mutants will accept their fate and cooperate with Magneto Eric's plan to let more ordinary people become mutants, until there are only mutants in the world and there are no ordinary people anymore. The plan is very good, but in fact it is impossible to succeed in the first place. The X-Men noticed Magneto Eric's plan, and they also knew that the experiment was flawed, and they became an ordinary mutant. After a period of time, their genes collapsed and they died. By then, Magneto Eric's plan will only kill the leaders of the countries. The consequences are absolutely unimaginable, and it will completely trigger a war between mutants and ordinary people. So, the X-Men went out and successfully stopped Magneto Eric's plan. Even so, although Magneto Eric's plan failed, it still angered the leaders of various countries, and the controversial bills on mutants were agreed upon one by one, quickly passed, and implemented. Perhaps because of the appearance of Tang Feng, the course of history has changed, and the contradiction between ordinary people and mutants has become more intense. All countries do not want the mutant group to have a fourth-level mutant again. Everyone is afraid of the power of the fourth-level mutant, all because of the shadow that Tang Feng brought to them. Therefore, the mutant bill was passed unanimously. The function of the mutant law is to record the ability of each mutant and then implement supervision. When the mutant law was decided, Charles did not escape Magneto Eric's assassination, just like the plot, because he had to use a brainwave magnifying glass, and he did not expect to manipulate Mystique, which caused his brain to be severely damaged. Therefore, he cannot interfere at all. Until now, Charles's brain trauma still has not healed, sometimes awake, sometimes dizzy. In this state, combat effectiveness can no longer be guaranteed. Fortunately, outsiders don't know much about Charles's situation. They are worried about him, and have never thought of attacking Xavier Academy. The same is true for Hellfire Club. Although Tang Feng has been missing for half a year, there are rumors that he was killed by a nuclear bomb, but after all, there is still a Black Queen, plus he has always been neutral and has a large network with large groups, rich people, etc. relationship, so I didn't think of starting the Hellfire Club. As for the Brotherhood and Mutant Island, the loss of Magneto Eric's shelter is a disaster for the fish in the pond. After the implementation of the mutant law, the countries first took action and seized the mutants who were singled out. At the same time, they also sent their own troops to arrest the Brotherhood members unceremoniously and surrounded Mutant Island, trying to capture all the mutants on the island. This is a global operation, and mutants' situation is at stake. In this wave, only Xavier Academy and the Hellfire Club were not affected for the time being. The mutants were hunted down. Charles, the Black Queen and others, definitely wanted to help. However, because Charles was in poor condition, the X-Men could not take measures to protect him and the Academy, so they could only wait anxiously, hoping that Charles would get better soon. Among them, Charles also sobered up several times. He wanted to make a move, but he was helpless. He could only pretend that because he was worried about Magneto Eric's safety, it was difficult to make a move. It was also because of Charles's warning that the actions of various countries were not too presumptuous. They simply arrested the mutants and monitored them. Instead of blatant pursuit, they secretly arrested some mutants for research. Research on mutants is inevitable. This is why, when besieging Mutant Island, powerful firearms were not used, but a sedative gun or other weapons with less power to reduce the range a little without harming lives, until the island was completely destroyed. All the mutants were captured, because the mutants on the island resisted. As a result, the army's capture operation was not smooth, and so far, the mutants have not been captured. During this process, the Black Queen and others also launched a rescue operation. Under the circumstance of avoiding the army, they quietly scoured the world to save the mutants one by one, including the embarrassed and fleeing Brotherhood members. Blink and Linger also participated in the rescue of Mutant. Today, Linger happened to be on guard at the headquarters. As for Flink, the ability to teleport is very convenient no matter where you go. When you see that time is up, you will go back first, clean the toilet, and then plan to continue. Then, I accidentally ran into Tang Feng and came back. It's so bad. Magneto Eric's plan, I told him that 910 would not work, but he didn't believe it and insisted on taking action. This is good. Not only did he get himself arrested, but he also caught us mutants. Tang Feng leaned back on the sofa and sighed. My foster father is still on the island, and I don't know if he has been caught. I'm really scared. What should I do? These days, the pressure on Flicker is so great, worrying about Mutant's future, worrying about her foster father, Sabretooth, busy everywhere to rescue the mutant compatriots, Seeing one by one the compatriots being chased and caught, she was overwhelmed and scared. If there is panic, I am afraid that I will be the same as the compatriots who were arrested and end up the same way in the future. Anxious, she finally lost her disguised strength in front of Tang Feng. Her eyes were red and she cried. Linger felt the same, and her small hand grabbed Tang Feng's hand tightly. Before Tang Feng did not appear, she felt helpless, and now she feels safe, always believing that Tang Feng is her pillar of support. With Tang Feng, all difficulties will be solved. Honey, don't cry, everything will be okay with me. Tang Feng gently hugged him and blinked, comforting him, then asked in confusion, you have teleportation, didn't you take Sabretooth away first? I think so too, but foster father refuses to leave. He would rather stay and fight the army raid with everyone, rather than flee alone. Blinking and shaking his head, he cried softly, explaining, Chapter 108 I create the future. In the eyes of good people, Sabretooth is an unforgivable bad person. In the eyes of the Brotherhood and the people of Mutant Island, Sabretooth is a warrior who protects them. Before his amnesia, Sabretooth was a murderous madman. After his amnesia, he still followed Magneto Eric and fought for the future of the mutants. Sabretooth is now like a beast driven to a dead end. The leader he followed has been captured, his homeland has been besieged, and his compatriots have been captured one by one, and they will all be gone. In this regard, she followed Beast's instinct and launched a furious resistance. Even if it was death, she was not afraid. Sabretooth would not leave, and no matter how worried Blink was, she could not take him away. For the compatriots on the island, she also thought about taking them away one by one. Although it would be very tiring, she was willing. However, the armies of the countries besieging Mutant Island would not allow Flicker to do so. After discovering Flicker's action, the countries will jointly put pressure on the Black Queen and others. If Flicker's action is not stopped immediately, they will take action against the Hellfire Club's mutant. The Black Queen knew that her own deterrent power was not enough, and she knew that Charles could not make a move, and Tang Feng did not know when he would return. In this way, Mutant Island and the others could not interfere, so they had to save their compatriots all over the world. If they encountered a member of the Brotherhood who had fled, they would quietly bring him back and take him in. Tang Feng, what should I do? I can't take my foster father away. All the compatriots on the island will also be taken away, and many more compatriots will be arrested all over the world. We can't save him. What can we do? What should we do? Twinkle pursed her lips tightly and continued to cry. Facing Tang Feng, she had no strength at all, only panic, daze, and fear. I think my brother must have a solution. Linger looked at Tang Feng expectantly and said firmly, Linger is right. Don't be afraid. I have a solution. I'm back. With me, I won't let Sabretooth have an accident, and I will rescue all my compatriots. Trust me. Tang Feng's face flickered with a firm look, and he said comfortingly, with a heavy nod. With Tang Feng's words, the panic disappeared. By the way, where are the compatriots brought back? Take me to see them. After a while, seeing that the flashing emotions had almost returned to normal, Tang Feng asked, during this period of time, we brought back nearly 30,000 compatriots, and because there were too many people, they were placed in 3 places. The underground space of our headquarters is one of them. After flashing, he led the way. In the underground space, Tang Feng once called the members here and gathered once. 1/3 of them, about 10,000 mutants, are temporarily housed here. Even if the underground space is large enough to accommodate 10,000 mutants, life is still very uncomfortable, especially if you hide here day and night. You can't go out casually, and you are scared every day. This kind of oppressive environment will drive people crazy. Deliberately keeping people to guard the headquarters, in addition to protecting these mutants, also has the meaning of supervision and management. A good thing can turn into a bad thing if the 10,000 mutants riot if they are not carefully monitored. Under normal circumstances, there is no need for Linger to go out, and some mutant members are organized in the underground space to be responsible for the usual supervision. Only when they were unable to suppress the troublesome compatriots, they needed Linger to take the initiative to suppress them. Coincidentally, as soon as Tang Feng followed Blink into the underground space, Mutant went crazy. Let me out. I've had enough of this stifling day. Even if I die, I'll die outside. Don't stop me. I'll kill anyone who dares to stop me. In the crowded crowd, there is a particularly unoccupied area. There is a young man with yellow hair, yellow smoke coming out of his hand, and the other finger is pointing at the 13 members in front of him, shouting menacingly. 99. My God, he's finally back. 99. Our White King has finally appeared. There are rumors in the outside world that the Sons of Disaster was killed by a nuclear bomb. I've never believed it. He finally appeared in our most difficult moment. After seeing Tang Feng's figure, every mutant burst into tears, excited and thrilled. Looking at Tang Feng's figure, it was like seeing hope. It's you, 35. Tang Feng, our Son of Disaster, why did you appear? The yellow-haired youth was stunned for a moment, then shouted loudly, our mutant is finished. Magneto Eric has been captured, and that hypocritical Charles, selfishly, only wants to keep his academy for himself. These days, all we can do is run away, run away, run away again. Even if I hide here temporarily, I'm scared every day. I can't sleep because of fear. I want a savior to appear and save us mutants. But the 4th level mutant we have always admired and looked up to, Magneto Eric was captured. Charles ignored us at all, and you, who never showed up, said that you were killed by a nuclear bomb. Anyone but the Queen of Darkness will not save us mutants. Screaming, he knelt on the ground crying bitterly, put his hands on the ground, and continued to shout wildly. At this point, what are you doing here? All countries have acted together, in order to trap us. Even if you show up, there is no help. We can only wait to die, wait to die. The scene fell silent. Only the yellow-haired young man whistling and shouting. All the mutants felt the same way, thinking of the tragic situation, and couldn't help but blush and cry softly. For a while, the underground space was filled with sobbing and crying. Flashing, Linger and the 2 daughters were also emotionally infected, Nords, and couldn't help covering their mouths with one hand, and crystal tears swirled in their eyes. What happened to you? Who said it's over? Who said there was no help? We mutants are not yet at the point of extermination. The countries are now cooperating and are only carrying out the mutant law, arresting us, and implementing supervision and control. 55. They are not trying to exterminate us. After a long time, Tang Feng said loudly, even if we don't die now, we will be regulated and no longer free, so is there any hope for us? It was the same yellow-haired youth, who said pessimistically. Tang Feng replied loudly and seriously, you are right. If we continue like this, we mutants will have no freedom and no future. So please believe me, and I will soon release you. You don't have to hide, you can stand upright. If there is no future, I will create a future path. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109. Return to Mutant Island. There is no future, he creates it. Tang Feng's loud declaration, until he left, always resonated in the minds of all the mutants. Deafening and emotional. They didn't know if Tang Feng could succeed, but they all chose to believe. There was no way out, only Tang Feng was their only hope. Our future, please, please. The yellow-haired youth was no longer in the mood to cause trouble and muttered to himself expectantly. What are you going to do next? As soon as he returned to the villa, Flicker couldn't help but ask. Yes, now that all countries are united, the mutant law cannot be changed. What can you do, brother, to save the situation? Linger also asked curiously. Tang Feng sat heavily on the sofa, leaned back, raised his head, pondered for a while, and said firmly, in this world, there is nothing that cannot be changed by strength. If it cannot be changed, it is only because strength is not strong enough. 5. Blink, on my behalf, give me a notice to the nations to arrest mutant, and give me an immediate stop. 35. Then the announcement said that in 3 days, there will be an earth-shaking movie on Mutant Island, and you are welcome to watch it. 35. Tang Feng glanced at Flickering, then looked at Linger again, and said, "They will stop moving after notification, so there is no need to rush to rescue everyone. As long as my plan succeeds, the mutants who are caught on 913 will be released one by one." The two women looked at each other, nodded slightly, and stopped asking Tang Feng how to do it. They chose to believe and went their own way. Flickering first followed Tang Feng's instructions and sent Tang Feng's warnings to various countries, and then announced the invitation to the movie, and under the broadcast of the internet, it quickly spread throughout the world. The disaster child who is rumored to have been killed by a nuclear bomb has reappeared. "Stop, don't run, run again and I'll shoot." "You're crazy, stop now." On the street, two patrolmen were chasing a mutant girl. One of them, a white patrolman, became impatient when he saw that he couldn't catch up with her. He was about to shoot and was stopped by his colleagues. "Don't stop me, he's about to run away." "You don't want to die." The disaster child appears again. "He is not dead. If you don't want to die accidentally, don't hurt mutant in the end." The colleague gritted his teeth and whispered a warning, causing the white patrolman's face to stagnate. He hesitated, and silently withdrew the gun. It doesn't matter if he can't catch mutant, he can't catch him. He doesn't want to risk his life. Similar things have happened all over the world, and the mutants who had escaped by chance are all grateful to Tang Feng in their hearts. "Son of the great disaster, you are brighter than God, the God of mutant, the only hope. Please save me and save the future of mutant." Like a prayer praising God, it rang lightly in a small dark room. At this moment, the sound of Tatata's footsteps, heavy and rapid, quickly approached. With a bang, the door was pushed open, and the dazzling sunlight poured in. "Cohen, pack up quickly, we have been found here, we have to leave quickly." Pushing open the door, a young man with thick arms and a fat body rushed in. He hurriedly opened his mouth, his face was panicked, he was tired and out of breath. The curly-haired young man who was praying turned his head abruptly and began to pack his things without saying a word. Finally, he solemnly hid Tang Feng's photo. The two young mutants left in a hurry. The curly-haired young man regarded Tang Feng as a savior, worshipped him as a god, and believed in him. It was not only him who did this, but also Tang Feng's savior. Many mutants who fled. Under the circumstances that Magneto Eric was captured, Charles deviated and ignored, and the Black Queen was helpless. Tang Feng, the last fourth-level mutant, stood up. Although they have not seen Tang Feng start to act, but mutant, who is fleeing, sees the light of hope and despair, even if it is very thin. They have to seize it. In this case, many mutants began to believe in Tang Feng. They regard him as the savior, like the god who saves mutants. It is not only mutant who believes in Tang Feng, but even ordinary people worship him, believe in him. One by one, believers began to inform each other about Tang Feng's appearance. They gathered together, with fanatical beliefs, looking for opportunities to meet Tang Feng, the son of calamity, the god they worship. It just so happened that Tang Feng would appear on Mutant Island 3 days later, so they began to gather and set off. No matter what the outside world is like, Tang Feng is busy in action. On Mutant Island, which has been besieged by the armies of various countries, in a certain corner, Tang Feng, Twinkle, Linger, Black Queen, and a group of people appeared here. "I'm back again. I thought it would be 3 days before I came back here with you." Twinkle looked around with excitement and said unexpectedly, "The 3 days I'm talking about are the movie time I've invited you to watch. Every day, the compatriots on this island will be hunted down, arrested, and terrorized. I can't wait 3 days to rescue them." Tang Feng said, looking around. All the traces of the battle can be seen. Looking beyond the edge of the island, there are all the warships, some large and some small, armed with helicopters and missiles, all surrounding the island and guarding it very tightly. Except for a few soldiers who stayed on the warship, nearly 60,000 soldiers of the army have formed a united team to go to the island and capture mutant everywhere. If it weren't for Mutant's ability to be strange, there are some skills that are very advantageous in the ability to escape and hide. Moreover, he was worried that Charles would make a deadly move. He didn't dare to slaughter, and he didn't use a highly lethal firearm, so he didn't dare to kill. Has trapped the mutant on the island so far. Even so, there are not many mutants on the island. and they are about to be caught. Fortunately, they didn't know about Charles. Otherwise, they would first bombard the island with artillery shells, and then capture the surviving compatriots. They don't care how many compatriots die in the process. On those warships, many compatriots are imprisoned, and I will rescue them first. As for you, you can act at will, rescue the compatriots on the island, and wipe out the army and soldiers on the island. 35 You can act with confidence. I will use the ability to help, Tang Feng said in a cold voice, nodded towards the Black Queen and the others, then took out the portal out of thin air with sling ring, walked in and left. The Black Queen and the others are not surprised. Before coming, Tang Feng had already demonstrated the magical ability of the portal. We will act separately, since our White King has promised. Then there is no need to worry about safety. You should know that he is the sons of disaster. Well, for us, it should be said that he is the lucky one. As the Black Queen said, she chose a direction at will and left. The rest of Linger and the others also dispersed with confidence, all believing in Tang Feng. Chapter 110 The War of Natural Disasters. Come in. You're safe. Inside a warship, Tang Feng passed through the teleportation gate, and without warning, appeared where Mutant was being held. A teleportation gate formed on one side, expanding to about 3 meters. He tilted his head to look at the mutant compatriots and signaled for them to enter. Are you the son of disaster, brother Tang Feng? A little girl was the first to rush into the portal in surprise, raising her face and asking, Yes, I'm sorry I'm late. Tang Feng nodded lightly and urged, You guys hurry up, there are other compatriots who need to be rescued. Hearing his words, these mutants woke up like a dream and nodded in response, unable to contain their excitement for the rest of their lives. As they entered the portal, they thanked Tang Feng. Brother Tang Feng, my mother was also caught, and she was not locked up here. Please rescue my mother. The little girl from earlier did not rush into the portal, but instead said to Tang Feng with a pleading expression, I know, no matter who it is, I will rescue them one by one, including your mother. Tang Feng placed a hand on the little girl's head, groped a few times, and ruffled her hair, affirming, Thank you brother Tang Feng. The little girl nodded happily, and finally entered the portal with confidence. When the last mutant entered the portal, Tang Feng immediately closed it, then went to the next warship, then the next warship, and continued until the 5th warship sent away the last group of mutants and completed the call for help action. These compatriots have been sent away, so these warships do not need to exist. Tang Feng put his hands in his pants pockets and slowly walked out of the warship onto the deck. The sound of water droplets came ticking. You devil, you did it all. A man covered in blood with a knife stuck in his belly, blood splashing dripping down, dressed in a colonel's navy uniform, stood up in despair and shouted at Tang Feng in fear. Tang Feng stopped, glanced at him, and then walked away. Behind him, the colonel was holding a gun, his hands were shaking, and he was about to shoot Tang Feng in the back. At this moment, a hyena flew over him, and the fish he was holding suddenly broke loose and fell straight towards him, just hitting his hand, causing the direction he was aiming to be the ground. He shot subconsciously, and then the bullet hit the ground, bounced off, and hit his heart. The colonel fell to the ground and died. Before he died, he was afraid, unwilling, and relieved. What happened before was a nightmare for him and the people around him. He died unexpectedly for no reason. No matter where it is, there will always be a series of coincidences, just like the arrangement of the god of death. Every soldier can't escape and die in despair. Tang Feng's appearance was sending Mutant away. Through the surveillance cameras, everyone knew and saw it, but they were so busy dealing with the chase of the god of death that they couldn't take care of themselves and couldn't control what Tang Feng was doing. As soon as Tang Feng appeared, he had already activated the skill. Whether it was these warships or the entire island, it was already shrouded in his disaster skill. It's fate that everyone dies. 39 Tang Feng rose into the sky, and after speaking in a low voice, his hand slammed down. Huge amounts of tsunamis formed, and the waves violently set off layers of waves, like the peak of Mount Tai, sinking the warships into the sea one after another. Sizzled. Roar, roar, roar. This is the Flying Eagle. I am Commander Major General Jack. Time is running out. There is no chance to say more. The child of disaster has appeared. He has launched the disaster. Everyone is dead. Maybe now there is only one left. Leave me alone. Cough. It's okay. Huge amounts of tsunamis are coming. As a navy, it is very romantic to be buried under the sea. I wish the country will always be peaceful and prosperous. Before I die, I have one last word that I hope the president will seriously consider. The power of the Son of Calamity is too terrifying and can completely exterminate human beings. The tsunami fell, the warship sank, and communications were completely cut off. Sons of disaster. The president received Jack's last words, and his heart was very uneasy. Not only him, the leaders of various countries were very calm, and they also received the news that Tang Feng appeared on Mutant Island and destroyed all the warships. They hurriedly discussed how to deal with Tang Feng's matters through the video, and everyone frowned, feeling very troubled. Really great for a while, lifelong regret. If they knew that Tang Feng was still alive, they would not have passed the mutant law so easily. On Mutant Island, Tang Feng finished processing all the warships and set his sights on the island. There are still 60,000 soldiers on the island, and they have not finished killing them. Although the disaster was launched, it did not kill 60,000 soldiers in a short period of time. The Black Queen and others also joined Mutant on the island, and they were killing every soldier they saw in front of them. The Black Queen and the others completely let go of their hands and feet, and kept attacking, because they found that each of these soldiers had encountered unexpected situations, and none of the bullets that could have threatened them were accurate. Some soldiers were accidentally killed without them having to do anything. They knew that this was Tang Feng's shot. Half of the soldiers. 9 these days, the days of hiding and escaping arrest. Everyone feels very uncomfortable. 0#. Half of the soldiers left on the island, that is, about 30,000 soldiers. With the remaining mutants on the island, if they were to kill so many soldiers, even if they were helped by the Black Queen and others, if they succeeded, they would suffer heavy casualties. So, she used natural disasters to help. Disaster war. With the launch of the natural disaster, invisible fluctuations spread to the entire island, covering everyone. In an instant, the mutants couldn't hold back the hatred in their hearts. Their eyes were red. Only revenge, vengeance, and no other thoughts were in their minds. Men and women, adults, children, and the remaining mutants all came out from corners and corners, like fearless warriors, roaring and charging. The Black Queen was shocked to find that mutant, who was originally a weak chicken, not only had the courage to fight, but also seemed to have taken stimulants. His strength increased greatly, and he learned to fight without a teacher. He became ruthless, killing the soldiers one by one. Moreover, every time she killed a soldier, she could see a kind of red mist rising from the dead soldier. 1/10 of it penetrated into his body, and the remaining 9/10 floated high into the sky and entered Tang Feng's body. Mutant, the weak chicken who inhaled the red mist, blushed, and the muscles on his arms swelled a little, as if his strength had become stronger. Moreover, the injuries he received before were gradually healing and recovering. Seeing this, the Black Queen couldn't help but be surprised. She killed the soldier with her hands, accepted 1/10 of the red mist, carefully understood it, and suddenly opened her eyes. She was very surprised. Power. Killing the enemy can increase strength and repair the wound. What kind of strange power is this? The Black Queen couldn't restrain her greed, and with the infection of the power of war, her red eyes fell into the excitement of killing. Unlike the situation in Mutant, the soldiers not only did not benefit from the power of war, but also suffered negative effects. Whether it was strength, speed, or reaction nerves, they were all weakened by 50%. In this way, one side becomes stronger. The more it kills, the stronger it becomes. One side becomes weaker, and as time goes by, it becomes weaker and weaker. As soon as the Plague War was launched, it was doomed that the mutant side would win and there would be no casualties. Chapter 111 finally reaches the 5th level. This is the power of natural disaster warfare. Tang Feng floated high in the sky, stretched out his hands, raised his head and closed his eyes, accepting the clumps of red mist floating up from below. You can see his body. Keep expanding. then tightening and contracting, the muscles becoming stronger and stronger, and the strength continues to grow stronger. If there's a system, it should be energy increase, 1%, 2%, 3%. Like this. According to the interpretation of fate, it is to absorb all the lifespan, luck, strength, etc. from killing the enemy and become stronger. There were about 30,000 soldiers below, and when they were all killed, Tang Feng was able to absorb 90% of the red mist, and only 10% belonged to the mutant compatriots below. After absorbing so much red mist in one go, he could feel that his strength, which was already approaching the 5th level, was slowly increasing, until the 5th level 917 became as thin as the window paper, as if it had been pierced by a tiny puncture. Tang Feng opened his eyes abruptly, unable to suppress his excitement, clenched his fists tightly, and let out a low growl. Shattered. The next moment, his mind seemed to rumble, as if the world had been torn open. The level in the darkness was finally broken. In an instant, a stronger force circulated, and the 10 natural disasters that could only be sensed at the beginning began to sense more natural disaster forces. The body has also become stronger, a rough estimate, at least 50 tons. 50 tons of force, plus the training in the first half of the year, have already controlled the force of the disaster to the smallest detail. It can be like vengeful and infuriating, bless the strength of the body, and have stronger protection. In other words, with the force of 50 tons and calamity, just relying on these 2 points, you can also fight with Hulk for a short time. The improvement of physical strength and the increase of disaster power are all secondary. The most important thing is the disaster and the natural disaster. After taking a step further, we finally reached the state where the disaster is a natural disaster, and you can use natural disasters as you like. In this way, your plan can be carried out without scruples. As long as humans are not exterminated and the planet is not destroyed, the Elder will not stand up to stop you for his own sake. What a surprise! What a surprise! Tang Feng recovered from the power of the 5th level and sighed. Although he had anticipated that the power of the natural disaster war would increase his power, he did not expect it to increase so much, so he broke through the 5th level at once. Although the 5th level checkpoint is very close, even this one shot is not easy to break through. In his expectation, it will not be broken through in 2 or 3 months. Who would have thought that the effect of the natural disaster war was so strong that he suddenly broke through the switch and became a 5th level mutant? Something's going on. Tang Feng touched his chin with one hand and looked down at the sound of tearing and killing, which gradually subsided. His eyes lit up, and the greed in his heart was about to stir. The power of natural disaster wars does not seem to be strong, and it cannot be compared with the power of planetary impact and the change of the center of the Earth, which can destroy the sky and destroy the Earth. However, natural disaster war also has its characteristics. That is, as long as you kill, you can improve your strength. The target of killing, whether it is a human being, an animal, or whatever, as long as it is a living body. Natural disaster war is like a war field, which increases all aspects of one's own side, increases its strength, infects people's emotions, and can sink into a state of fearless killing. The halo of reinforcement. For the enemy, it is a negative halo. The most important point is that natural disaster war can absorb the power of the people killed, and the power of the enemy is also a negative halo. It can be improved no matter how much you kill, and it will never end. In other words, if Tang Feng has been using natural disaster warfare, he can always improve his strength. Just like playing an online game, his strength level continues to increase. Breaking through the 5th level is nothing. Even if it is a level above the true God, you can continue to break through. Tang Feng was very moved. After thinking for a while, he finally sighed. The temptation was great, but unfortunately he couldn't do it. With levels 5 to 6, the power required is too great. Unless he kills all the life on the entire planet, there is only half the chance of breaking through to level 6 and becoming a true god. He can't do this kind of thing. Tang Feng shook his head, throwing away these thoughts. He couldn't do anything like massacres, but that doesn't mean that natural disaster warfare will never be used. If you face a powerful enemy, you can fight halfway first, and then use natural disaster warfare to kill the enemy, and you can draw strength. An enemy of level 4 or above possessed power comparable to that of ordinary people in the hundreds of thousands or hundreds of thousands. Therefore, killing strong enemies and using natural disaster warfare to draw strength is the method suitable for Tang Feng. He didn't do this before, just because the power of the 4th level was not enough for him to use the power of natural disasters one after another. If the soul is injured, it is not so easy to restore 0. When Tang Feng was thinking about the use of natural disaster warfare, the tearing and killing below finally disappeared, and there was no more red mist floating, indicating that all 30,000 soldiers were killed. Tang Feng looked down, found Linger and the others, and flew down. Roar! In a brutal battlefield with corpses everywhere and rivers of blood, Sabretooth was like a bloodthirsty beast, pulling the dead soldiers on both sides with both claws, tearing some pieces to death. I saw that on his body, the wounds healed quickly, the fierce aura spread freely, and the intensity of the breath became stronger, because many soldiers died, and the red mist absorbed a lot, and his strength increased by 30%. Foster father, it's okay, don't kill them, they're all dead. Blink whispered Dror on the side, swinging his hands forward, trying to calm Sabretooth. Sabretooth's red eyes stared at Blink, blood dripping from his 2 claws. He let out a low growl. He was addicted to killing. No matter who was in front of him, he wanted to kill them. He locked his target on Blink, ready to move. Okay, Sabretooth, calm down. White Queen Nana walked over and activated her psychic power, which quickly calmed Sabretooth down and regained his sanity. Roar! Sabretooth, you've finally regained your senses. You were so scary just now that everyone was going to kill you. I didn't dare to get close to you. A silver light flashed and Quicksilver Pietro appeared, speaking while maintaining a distance of 4.7 from Sabretooth. Everyone in Hellfire, on behalf of everyone here, thank you for your help. A red shadow fell from the sky. Scarlet Witch, which Wanda took back the red origin magic power and thanked White Queen, Black Queen, Twinkle, Linger, Storm, etc. One by one, very grateful. She was originally desperate, thinking that she couldn't escape this time and would be caught with everyone. She didn't expect that at the critical moment, the Black Queen and others would appear. The remaining mutants gathered one after another, nearly 2,000 or so, and everyone thanked them gratefully. You don't have to be too polite, no need to say thank you. We are also mutants. We can't wait until we die. A word came down from the sky. Everyone looked up and saw the dark red mess around Tang Feng, slowly descending, very elegant. Chapter 112, The Angry Tang Feng. The war on Mutant Island is over. All the soldiers have been wiped out, and the fleets of all countries have been wiped out. The so-called siege situation, the desperate situation, is a joke to Tang Feng. All countries know what happened here. Because they were afraid of Tang Feng's power, they chose to remain silent and did not send more fleets to confront Tang Feng. Facing Tang Feng's super strength, they knew that no matter how many fleets there were, no matter how many people there were, they would still deliver food. They all knew that when Tang Feng and Dracula were fighting, a nuclear bomb was fired in the past. If there had been no accident, it would definitely hit Tang Feng and he would not die. It appeared after disappearing for half a year, proving that a nuclear bomb cannot kill Tang Feng. The nuclear bomb that was launched wanted to hit Tang Feng, as the last good opportunity, did not happen every time. This is the idea of the leaders of various countries. They considered it carefully over and over again, and gave up the idea of using nuclear bombs, tearing their faces, and starting a war with Tang Feng. They did not forget what happened half a year ago. The powerful vampires who lived like cockroaches for a long time were killed by Tang Feng using a plague-like natural disaster. This is a terrifying thing, and it is extremely terrifying to think about it. If Tang Feng also uses this plague to deal with human beings, he may also be able to exterminate human beings. They are waiting, wanting to know what movie Tang Feng wants them to watch 3 days later, and what the purpose of it is, so that they can act on Machine 09. The day passed and night came, and the noise on the island gradually returned to calm, although there was still a faint smell of blood. The corpses all over the island were almost clean and it was no longer a hellish scene. Tang Feng and the others and the remnants of the Brotherhood all gathered together to meet. A large round table. Tang Feng sat at the top of the table. On the left is the Black Queen and others, and on the right is the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood is headed by Sabretooth, followed by Riptide, also has Mutant who also has the Wind, Wanda, Quicksilver, Bone Spurs all over the body, Regan, arms can regenerate at super speed, Magma, can erupt lava, and Multiple, can be divided into a large number of duplication, Quick Attack, with super fast response, can cut neutron bullets with a knife. The Brotherhood has a total of 9 members, and is currently the most prestigious member of the Brotherhood. As for Mystique, she disappeared long after Magneto Eric was arrested. Juggernaut, after the defeat of the Statue of Liberty in the first battle, was captured by the military. The fisherman benefited, caught him, and like Magneto Eric, kept it a secret. There are also some important members who were also captured and fled, and now only these people are left. To be honest, I'm very disappointed in you guys. You just disappeared for half a year. As soon as I came back, I saw that you guys made a mess. 9. If I appear later, do you want to destroy the mutant family? Tang Feng tapped the table with his fingers, looking at the people of the Brotherhood. His words were sarcastic. In this regard, Sabretooth and the others bowed their heads in shame and did not refute. It was the truth, and you had to admit it. Although Tang Feng is not a member of the Brotherhood, he is also a mutant and is still at level 4. No one knows that Tang Feng has been upgraded. He has enough prestige and is their great benefactor, so he is also qualified to preach. Although Sabretooth was 100 or 200 years old, facing Tang Feng, who was less than 20 years old, he remained silent and let Tang Feng preach. We don't want to get into this situation. If it weren't for the X-Men's troubles, our plan would have succeeded. If we want to blame, we should blame the X-Men first. Quicksilver made Tang Feng hold his breath and muttered softly, huh? Don't you agree? Don't think I don't know. Even if the X-Men didn't intervene, your plan wouldn't succeed. I've already told that old fool Magneto that the mutant experiment is simply not perfect and cannot succeed. He just didn't listen, but the result was good. Not only did he deceive himself, he was arrested, but it also affected everyone. The mutant law was established. Countries cooperated in action, and compatriots from all over the world were arrested and supervised, and their freedom was completely lost. Perhaps as he was speaking, another compatriot was arrested. Perhaps someone was secretly arrested for experimentation. Boom. The more Tang Feng talked, the angrier he became. He slammed the table hard and made a loud noise, which startled everyone. Quicksilver shrank his head and didn't dare to speak again. The angry Tang Feng was scary. Sabretooth and the others were uneasy, just like facing Magneto Eric's scolding. They were full of fear. To Tang Feng, he was very rude and called Magneto, and the old fool called Drawer, and pretended not to hear him. Be nice. The White Queen secretly stuck out her tongue, no longer sat casually, raised her hands, no longer painted her nails, straightened her waist, and sat upright. The Black Queen also listened to the lecture a little more seriously. She was suspicious and didn't know if it was an illusion. It seemed that she felt that Tang Feng's breath was stronger, which brought her a lot of pressure. Tang Feng had just broken through to the 5th level. He didn't have the perfect control power, and leaked a little power, so the Black Queen was very aware of it. Then, after scolding for a while, Tang Feng calmed down, sat down again, relaxed his expression, stopped talking, and calmly took a sip of tea. Roar tilde everyone present, seeing that Tang Feng was no longer angry. Roar subconsciously let out a sigh of relief and relaxed. Okay, let's not talk about unnecessary nonsense. Who called me a mutant? You guys made a mess and I had to deal with it. Wanda, can I get in touch with Mystique? Tang Feng skipped Sabretooth and was unfamiliar with torrents, but he was still comfortable with beauties and asked Wanda. Wanda stood up subconsciously, feeling a little overwhelmed. She didn't expect Tang Feng to ask her. She was stunned for a moment before answering and said hesitantly, I'll try, but I can't guarantee that I can contact her. 99 Okay, do your best. 917 After the Black, Use all means to find the place where Magneto is imprisoned as soon as possible. Tang Feng turned his head and looked at the Black Queen. With his current level 5 strength, coupled with the mess Magneto Eric had made, he no longer had any respect. Being able to call him Magneto was already giving him face. Are you going to save Magneto Eric? This is not easy to handle. It angered the leaders of several countries. If I hadn't scrutinized Charles, I might have caught him at the first moment and shot him. Even if he is not killed, it is decided to imprison him for life. This is the decision of the entire country. Whoever dares to rob the prison is the enemy of all countries. The Black Queen frowned and seriously analyzed it. This is indeed the case. The plot of the movie is very absurd. Committing such a big thing, even with Charles' protection, it is impossible to forgive Magneto Eric easily. The place where Magneto Eric's imprisonment is definitely very tight, and he will also be guarded by elite soldiers from various countries. There is only one mystic. Even if you can shapeshift, it is impossible to come into contact with a fat guard like the plot. PFFT, a fat man is an elite soldier. Funny, easy to rescue Magneto Eric. Moreover, as the Black Queen said, the leaders of various countries also have tempers. If they don't kill Magneto Eric, they will be merciful. If anyone dares to save him, they will definitely make a choice and destroy them together. Trailer for Chapter 113. What about nations? What if they are united? Now, haven't we already fought against the humans from all over the world? Tang Feng looked at everyone present, heavy and powerful, and said word by word. Everyone was shocked and couldn't tell what they felt. They only felt that Tang Feng's current appearance was too heroic, too beautiful, and too model-like. Linger's eyes are already shining, like a fan. She has been staring at Tang Feng with fascination, and occasionally laughs happily. Flickering was very restless, staring at Tang Feng blankly. This is her man. She really never gets tired of seeing him. The eyes of the Black Queen and the White Queen were even hotter, and they wished they could strip off Tang Feng's clothes on the spot. Tang Feng, thank you. Wanda gave a very solemn thanks and broke the strange atmosphere of the scene. Although she didn't recognize Magneto Eric, she couldn't deny that her father was Magneto Eric. Her feelings for her father are very complicated. Not only does she hate her father. In any case, Tang Feng's determination to rescue Magneto Eric was the result she most wanted to see, and she was very grateful to Tang Feng. Oh, thank you, Tang Feng. Quicksilver Pietro reacted to this ruthless father. He was also hard-mouthed and soft-hearted. In fact, he was very concerned about Magneto Eric's crisis. Magneto, please thank you. Sabretooth cherishes words like gold, bows his head in gratitude. Thank you. Tang Feng, thank you. No matter what the outcome, we, the Brotherhood, will accept your favor. The members of the Brotherhood thanked Tang Feng one by one. Finally, the torrent represented the meaning of the entire Brotherhood and solemnly said to Tang Feng, Okay, don't be so polite. Magneto has done something wrong, but his original intention is good, and so is it for our mutant. Also, he's a 4th level mutant after all. We have too few level 4 mutants. If there's one less, there won't be anyone. Since I have the ability, I can't help but save. Tang Feng put forward his attitude, just like his boss was criticizing. So-and-so's subordinates are too important. Even if they make mistakes, they can't be faulted. There's no way. They can only forgive him. The people at the scene were strangely silent. There was no way. Tang Feng is the biggest one here. He can say whatever he wants, and he's not qualified to refute anyway. Tang Feng didn't even notice it. He walked away and couldn't tell the difference between east, west, north and west. You already have the power of level 5. No matter who the enemy is, as long as it's not a true god, you don't need to be afraid. What is Odin? A dying old man. Thanos is nothing without infinity gems, just a purple sweet potato essence. What is Ancient One? If it weren't for his teaching for half a year, he wouldn't give his face. What is Ultron? Hydra, Abomination, Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, let alone rivals. After examining him, Tang Feng suddenly discovered that he had become a level 5 mutant, who seemed to be truly invincible on this planet. Invincible. So lonely, so empty. By the way, who dropped a nuclear bomb on my head half a year ago. Have you found out? After deciding to rescue Magneto Eric, I will wait to find out his whereabouts. At this point, there is nothing to say, just a casual sentence. There will be a big movement in 3 days, so everyone is ready, and then the conference will be announced. Suddenly, Tang Feng finally thought of one more thing that he didn't ask, and stopped the Black Queen. It has long been discovered, he is a major general who has been in command of a nuclear bomb. Secretly, Stryker has used the Illusion Master's ability to control him. The Dark Queen looked back, thought for a moment, and said immediately, "It turned out to be Stryker's ghost again. This bastard, even if he died, left a pit waiting to confront me." Tang Feng slapped the table angrily, and was extremely annoyed when he thought of Stryker's abominable appearance. Needless to say, Stryker has long wanted to use a nuclear bomb to kill Tang Feng. But there hasn't been a good opportunity. Throwing a nuclear bomb at Tang Feng openly and honestly will definitely make Tang Feng avoid it in advance, and it is impossible for him to be killed. Therefore, Stryker has been patiently waiting for opportunities until he died, and he couldn't wait for a good opportunity. Until the battle between Tang Feng and Dracula, the Major General, who had been controlled and left unattended, they thought it was an opportune time. So they fired a nuclear bomb without hesitation. Where is that Major General now? Tang Feng clenched his fists, smiled grimly, and asked. He was taken away and imprisoned, not in our hands. The Black Queen's face was embarrassed and it was difficult to answer. This time it was the White Queen who continued. Didn't you catch it? Tang Feng widened his eyes and said in surprise, "It's not that we don't want to. It's just that things are a little more complicated." The Black Queen sighed and explained the matter clearly. It turned out that the Major General had a very deep background and was the nephew of a member of the World Security Council. The members of the World Security Council are all big shots, and even the National Strategic Defense Strike and Logistics Support Agency, SHIELD, is under their control. Yoan Bailey is one of the members of the World Security Council. The Major General, his nephew, was named Blashkin. After learning that Tang Feng's life and death were unknown, he assumed that he was killed by a nuclear bomb. Senator Yoan Bailey knew that his nephew was under control, so he did not help his relatives. Without Tang Feng's threat, he became bold and joined all parties. The senators, together with the National Strategic Defense Offensive and Logistics Service, put pressure on the Hellfire Club. The Major General was imprisoned first, and his military post was dismissed. According to the law, the Major General committed a crime and fired a nuclear bomb without authorization. He has been punished, so there is no need for the Black Queen and others to abuse the lynching. That's how it is said. It is a decision not to make friends. Every member of parliament has a great background and is backed by a great country. The National Strategic Defense Offensive and Logistics Support Bureau is the most powerful agent organization in the world, and its power is also very strong. When these forces unite, even the Hellfire Club, even the Black Queen, is under a lot of pressure. If you catch someone, Norjal, first, then don't say anything, just kill first, then the problem afterwards is not too big. Even if the Major General has a background and everyone dies, it is not worth dying for a dead man, and the Hellfire Club take it well. It's a pity that the person was not in the hands of the Black Queen, but was first detained in a secret location by the National Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Bureau. Without Tang Feng's backing for the time being, the Black Queen is also helpless, without the confidence to fight hard. I don't want to fight against the members and SHIELD for a Major General. In the end, it will only be a tragic fight. In this case, we can only choose to wait for Tang Feng to come back and see how he resolves it. Interesting, very interesting. He just disappeared for half a year, and one by one I was not taken seriously. Apostrophe, did you forget? The vampires killed Kai for me. The corner of Tang Feng's mouth twitched. He sat back down, snapped his fingers and said, "Before the movie comes out, I'll show you a trailer first." Chapter 114, Live Summoning of Meteorite. Humans are really forgetful creatures. Half a year ago, Tang Feng's fame brought fear to the world, and he was the ruthless hand to destroy the vampires. These things, just because Tang Feng disappeared for half a year and his life and death are unknown, Some people became hard-hearted, and the major general who fired a nuclear bomb at Tang Feng dared to take refuge. Tang Feng laughed at this, and if he wanted to court death, he would meet them, 40 degrees east, 60 degrees south. The distance is about 5,000 kilometers. Is this area? Tang Feng turned a globe, and in the story of the Black Queen, he pointed to an area and asked, "That's right, this base is a secret base of the National Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Office. It's so well defended that it's difficult for us mutants to sneak in. We just discovered that Major General is being held here." With a serious face, the Black Queen nodded. "Okay, then the show has begun. Linger, have you set up the camera?" Tang Feng asked back. "Okay, brother." Linger finally adjusted the camera and said quickly, "Have those news stations and live broadcast platforms contacted you? Did you refuse?" Tang Feng turned his head, looked at the White Queen who couldn't contain her curiosity, and asked, "You all promised to touch it, and you all said so, how dare you refuse?" The White Queen said directly, "Okay, then the countdown to the trailer has begun. I have to wait a moment, I will find the place first." Tang Feng clapped his hands, closed his eyes, and the 917 detection field spread out. Level 4 and Level 5, power is really the difference between heaven and earth. One is the overlord of the planet, the other is the overlord of the universe. Just look at how easily Thanos can beat Hulk. It is completely easy and vulnerable. Just like Tang Feng, who became a Level 5 mutant, using natural disasters is as easy as eating and drinking, and even the exploration field can cover the entire planet. First lock down the secret base area, then focus on God's perspective, eliminate it a little, and soon see a hidden base. Although the base was hidden using black technology, it looked like a piece of mountain that was similar to the surrounding mountains. But it couldn't hide from the God's eye that Tang Feng could see through. Through the base, he looked at the situation inside. According to the photos provided by the Black Queen, it locked a figure. That's right, that figure is the Major General, and the person who dared to throw a nuclear bomb at him, although he was imprisoned, seems to be living a good life. Unhappy, Tang Feng opened his eyes, using the right hand of the sling ring, and opened a large opening to the ceiling above. Due to the different regions, it is still daytime in the base, which does not prevent the recording of videos. Linger, you can turn on the machine. Okay. Linger replied, and after 2 or 3 clicks, the machine turned on, aiming at the opening. As the camera was turned on, many news stations from the outside world, as well as various live broadcast platforms, urgently inserted a video, which was the picture Linger took with a camera. "Oh, shit, I also want to know what happened to the child who was beaten. What happened to the news station? Give it back to me." 35A Fat Man is about to smash the TV. "What's wrong with the live broadcast platform, my host? Let me out, I'm only halfway through." 99 An otaku hurriedly jumped up. The suddenly changed video made many people around the world dissatisfied and angry, shouting one by one. Then everyone heard a reply, "Sorry. The live broadcast can't be changed. This is the live broadcast of the Children of Disaster." Puff. Someone was drinking water. Hearing that it was Tang Feng's live broadcast, he was shocked and sprayed all the water in his mouth on the spot. He couldn't believe it. Directly to Guy Drawer. "Mother Zeepy, you're right. Son of Disaster is also doing live broadcasts." The young man with glasses didn't care about the TV and watched the video with bated breath. "Gosh, you heard that right." The fat man who was about to smash the TV, after hearing the words on the phone, quickly put down the stool, regardless of the news, and watched the video intently. "What? That female anchor, go to hell. This is the legendary Son of Disaster. It's her live broadcast. It's a once-in-a-century opportunity." The otaku silently retracted the handkerchief and looked expectantly at the live video. "Wait, what did you say? Did I hear it wrong? Tang Feng is broadcasting?" As soon as Tony heard the news of Tang Feng, he became very restless. He didn't even care about the beauty. He hurried home and kept an eye on Tang Feng to see what he was going to do. God damn it, if Tang Feng goes crazy and throws a meteorite into New City, I don't know if the remodeled basement can hold it. People all over the world, no matter what they are watching, after knowing the news of Tang Feng's live broadcast, they are like crazy and don't care about anything. Just watch it. Tang Feng's live broadcast is more attractive than any big star. Most people don't have Tony's concern. Before the natural disaster appears above their heads, it has nothing to do with them, and it is a mood to watch the excitement. I knew it would be like this, and when I heard the news of his resurgence, I knew it would be like this. Have our people been evacuated? At the Trident headquarters of the Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency National Strategic Command, Nick Fury rubbed his forehead irritably and asked Hill, "They have been evacuated ahead of time. The guards who stayed at that base are not our people, but Senator Yoan Bailey's subordinates," Hill said softly. "That's good." Nick Fury nodded, looked at the video, and said to himself, according to the source, it was on Mutant Island, but the video is playing at that base. The two are so far apart. How did Tang Feng do it? The edge of the video is painted, and there is a picture of sparks flashing, which seems to be energy. Is it the effect of this energy? Could it be related to space? Speaking of space, he paused and thought of the Rubik's Cube he was secretly studying. Not good. Notify Broshkin quickly and let him escape. On the other side, Senator Yoan Bailey saw the image in the video. Although the base was still hidden, his heart skipped a beat. Knowing that the base had been discovered, he hurriedly shouted to his opponents, "Member, it's too late." Holding a mobile phone under his hand, his face was frightened. He did not make any calls, but instead pointed at the video with one hand. Yoan Bailey's eyes widened and he rushed to the front of the video. He also noticed a small black spot, which was falling from the sky. The place where it fell was where the base was. This kind of scene is very familiar and reappears after half a year, on various news stations, on various live broadcast platforms, and in front of the eyes of the whole world. Tang Feng's live broadcast is different. It is not a funny joke or a talent show. It is not a threat to say anything, and it is not a word to declare the extinction of the world. He did not say a word throughout the entire process, and his figure was not exposed to the camera. He just silently summoned a meteorite. People all over the world, those who are watching the video, are blessed and very fortunate. Although they did not see it with their own eyes, through the live video, they truly saw the destructive power of the meteorite falling. The rumbling sound came from the video, and the place where the meteorite fell raised mushroom dust, covering the sky and making the video not clear enough. If someone observes carefully, they will find that the outline of the building is vaguely revealed in the billowing smoke and dust, and it was completely destroyed by the impact of the meteorite. Tang Feng deliberately summoned a larger meteorite. The destructive power was astonishing, and the scene was shocking. The shockwave hit by the meteorite directly rushed for several kilometers, leaving a huge crater in its place. It will not take long for a lake to form. On this day, the world is silent. Chapter 115 Movie Live Broadcast begins. Now this is the trailer, and the actual movie will be broadcast live in 3 days. You must be very curious about Mutant S power? You must be very curious about how strong Mutant S power is and whether the rumored power to destroy the world is true. Do you want to know all this? Wait for the live broadcast in 3 days. When these words came out of the video, the live broadcast disappeared and returned to the original image. No one watched the rebroadcast news, nor any female anchors. Everyone was in shock and drank a lot of water. It was terrible. It was astonishing. The live broadcast of the meteorite falling really irritated them. Some people with heart problems were carried into the ambulance and sent to the hospital for rescue. When the mood calmed down a little, I remembered that before the end of the live broadcast, everyone was waiting and scared. They didn't know what the hell Tang Feng would do in 3 days. The world lost its voice because of the live broadcast of Tang Feng summoning the meteorite. Because of Tang Feng's words, it fell silent. The current Tang Feng can really stir up the situation with his words and deeds, and the world is in constant turmoil because of him. Have you seen what a terrible disaster this is? The son of a great disaster is the true God living in the world. A group of fanatic believers frantically worshipping Tang Feng, crazily shouting roar. On the other side are the patrolmen who are guarding to prevent trouble. Belief is free. Even if you believe in Tang Feng, no one dares to care about it, unless it is to lose your life. And you are not afraid of death. Have you seen it? Such a huge meteorite has an astonishing destructive power. Tang Feng said that when they call him, they will call him. This is the power of the 4th level mutant. We mutants are safe. He is our savior. The curly-haired young man who believed in Tang Feng said excitedly to his friend. The friend nodded his head and was also full of emotions, showing a look of yearning and worship. He, who had no faith, also began to believe in Tang Feng. Half of the planet, at night, many people are doomed to be unable to sleep. The other half, during the day, there are also many people who are absent-minded when they go to school or work. The image of the meteorite falling, like a nightmare, is always tangled in my mind. Mutant Island. The live broadcast ended. The camera turned off. Tang Feng sat indifferently, drinking tea. He found that after half a year of habit, he had fallen in love with drinking tea. If he didn't drink it for a day, he would drink tea. Or every few hours. He felt like he was addicted to smoking and felt uncomfortable. Relax. Tang Feng frowned, took a sip, changed the tea leaves, brewed water, and made tea. He made tea and drank it by himself, ignoring the quiet atmosphere of the scene. There is no doubt that through the portal, everyone present witnessed the shocking scene of the meteorite falling. Since the portal was right above the base, they could see clearly from their perspectives. When the meteorite fell, everyone was startled and terrified. They were afraid that the meteorite would pass through the portal and kill them. It's terrifying. No matter how many times I see it, it's shocking. After a long time, the White Queen patted the words Hungarian moon and broke the silence first. Fuck. Fortunately, when I first met him, I didn't summon a meteorite to hit me on the head. Quicksilver came back to his senses and subconsciously recalled the first meeting with Tang Feng. He was terrified. The meteorite fell very fast, and the scope of the impact was large. Okay, it's late at night. The meeting is over. 35 Tang Feng stretched and ignored everyone's sighs, said a word, waved his hand, stood up, picked up finger, blinked, and left. And that congressman, isn't he going to take action? 39 The Black Queen's words made Tang Feng's footsteps pause for a moment. I will definitely not let him go, just let him live a few more days and experience the fear before death. Besides, I think it's boring to kill him arrogantly and unreasonably. After 3 days, when my live movie is over, whether it's him covering up the murderer or a mutant, I'll be fine. And the leaders of various countries, be reasonable, Tang Feng said meaningfully, and left with the 2 girls in his arms. Interesting, very interesting. I'll see what you are going to do. With strong expectations, the Black Queen also left, but she felt helpless and unhappy. Tang Feng would be dumbfounded and intoxicated. Left. Everyone left, and the rest of the people also left. He was very curious about the movie that Tang Feng was still talking about 3 days later. He was destined to not be able to sleep tonight. Moreover, listening to Tang Feng's meaning and preparing to interview the leaders of various countries, it is really too affectionate, like a cat's paw tickling his heart. Brother, tell Linger that it's okay. What is the movie in 3 days? Is it also a live broadcast like Meteorite? 0. For flowers Tang Feng brought Linger and Twinkle over, and as soon as he returned to the room where he lived, Linger couldn't wait to act like a spoiled child, full of curiosity. Are you going to continue to interview the leaders of various countries? What are you going to say? Let's talk about it. 99 Flicker couldn't suppress his strong curiosity, blushing and acting like a spoiled child. The 2 women joined hands to act like a spoiled child. Tang Feng secretly smacked his lips. Sweetheart, I really can't stand it. Everyone wants to know? He smiled and said mischievously. The 2 women nodded together, very curious. Well, if you want to know the secret in advance, you have to pay a small price. Tang Feng smiled wickedly, led the 2 girls into the bedroom, and with a plop, the door closed. 2 timid screams came from the room. 0 Time flies. 3 days have passed, and today is the day, Tang Feng said. According to Tang Feng's request, the Black Queen brought the most advanced drones equipped with the most advanced cameras. A total of 100 drones, scattered far away, launched into the sky, and were 1 or 2 kilometers away from the island. but they were able to clearly photograph the entire island. It can make Magneto Eric imagine, like Mutant Island, the area is not small in place. The entire island is a rebellious rectangle, about 43 kilometers long and about 31 kilometers wide. The area of this island is definitely comparable to a first-tier city with a smaller area. According to Tang Feng's instructions, the mutants on the island have already been evacuated and arranged to be at the headquarters. Only the important members of the Brotherhood, the Black Queen and others chose to stay, and everyone looked at Tang Feng with great curiosity, and they all speculated in their hearts what Tang Feng was going to do. Is the camera on? Is the live broadcast? Tang Feng stood on the high cliff with his hands on his hips, and said calmly without turning his head, "The camera has been turned on, and the live broadcast has also been broadcast. This time, whether it is a news station, a live broadcast platform, or any TV station, we have our live broadcast." Linger quickly replied, "Well, wait a minute. No matter what happens, don't panic. If you don't leave me 10 meters away, there will be no danger, just normal operation." Tang Feng turned around, smiled mysteriously, and then stretched out his hand, lightly lifting. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116 The Island Takes Off. As Tang Feng stretched out his hand and slowly lifted it, the island immediately vibrated violently, as if it had woken up from a deep sleep and turned over. Roar! At this moment, a very violent gravitational fluctuation swept over and enveloped the entire island. In an instant, the clouds above were directly blown away, and the seagulls flying around were crushed into slag one by one. Only the area where Tang Feng, the Black Queen and the others were was not affected. Immediately afterwards, the Black Queen and the others only felt a weightlessness. Their bodies trembled, and they felt that the island seemed to rise a little. This shocking change frightened them all. Everyone looked shocked and at a loss. Even Sabretooth subconsciously lowered his body, his teeth were exposed, his hair stood up, and he looked around vigilantly. Island, island, in the sky. The White Queen's exclamations spread everywhere. While balancing his body and standing firm, he looked at the hand 920 in his hand to pick up the computer, pale, and shouted. Linger, Black Queen, Sabretooth and the others looked over, all with shocking expressions. The video displayed on the laptop is the drone filming the entire island. In the picture, it can be clearly seen that the island as a whole is gradually rising into the sky, and the lower half of the island is also exposed to the horizontal plane little by little. God! Hey, Tang Feng, what are you doing? Quicksilver crouched down in a panic, grabbed the ground tightly with his hands, stabilized his body, and asked loudly. He has also tried takeoff. He has experienced the thrill of takeoff in hot air balloons, airplanes, and parachutes. But now it was an island that was lifting him into the air, and that kind of thing was too terrifying. All the people present had the same idea as Quicksilver, and only Tang Feng could remain calm. Don't be afraid. As long as you don't leave me within 10 meters, the pull of gravity won't affect you. It will affect you. As you can see, I'm now taking the entire island and lifting it up with gravity. Don't worry, it's just a normal operation. I'll do it when I'm sure. 35 Get up. Tang Feng turned his head and smiled, then took a light drink, borrowing more gravity from the pole shift to form a gravitational field around the island. This gravitational field completely counteracted the planet's gravity, and under the influence of the strong gravitational force, it accelerated its speed and lifted the island directly into the sky. A large amount of seawater violated the laws of physics and followed the island into the sky, forming a huge waterfall connecting the sky and the sea, as if the seawater was supporting the island, and the scene was too shocking. It's too easy. The power of the 5th level is too strong. Using the power of natural disaster is like using a disaster. It is not laborious at all, and it will not consume too much physical strength. Even if you use different natural disaster powers in succession, you can do it. It will not harm the soul. 5. The corners of Tang Feng's mouth raised slightly, thinking in his heart, and then began to use the second natural disaster power. His so-called movie hasn't ended yet. Even so, through my God, I'm not seeing the truth, right? Jarvis, tell me, did you have the virus? In the luxurious seaside residence, Tony Stark looked incredulously, patted his forehead constantly and walked around, looking like he couldn't accept reality. Sir, I'm sorry to tell you that you didn't have the virus, and the live broadcast is real. Sir, it was detected that you are emotionally unstable and your heart is beating too fast. Do you need to call an ambulance? Jarvis is the icy electronic sound as always. No need. Tony smiled wryly and shook his head, sat back down, took a sip of coffee to suppress his shock, and couldn't help but complain. I'm afraid that one day, Tang Feng will be scared to death. Sir, I suggest you better prepare to evacuate now. 99 Jarvis suddenly said. Why? Tony asked in astonishment. According to our satellite observations, there is a 92% chance that the continent on the seabed beneath the island will rise to the surface. Such a large movement will trigger an unprecedented tsunami. Even if the location of the island is more than 3,000 kilometers away from us, because the villa is on the coast, there is an 85% chance of being affected by the tsunami. 99 According to my speculation, this huge tsunami will affect many coastal cities, and the nearest cities will be completely submerged by the tsunami. Puff. Tony spat out all the coffee in his mouth in fright, with a lazy expression on his face, turned his lazy head, looked at the live broadcast, and noticed that a huge shadow was rising from under the seabed. My goodness, do you want to play so big? This is not just the roar in Tony's heart, but the roar in the hearts of all the people in the world who are watching the live broadcast. Even the X-Men and others who were always watching Tang Feng's movements were terrified. Charles, who was in a daze, also felt the shock and suddenly woke up and muttered to himself, Tang Feng, stop. If this continues, he will kill and injure many people. It's this kind of power, too strong, and only he is worthy of me. Kin's face was flushed as he watched the live broadcast, his red hair fluttering without wind, and the Phoenix Force was faintly rioting. Without Charles' continuous seal, his second personality, Dark Phoenix, was about to break free. Scott beside him smiled bitterly when he heard Kin's inner chatter. Since Tang Feng left again, Kin felt more and more unfamiliar to him and didn't pay much attention to him. Knowing that he liked Tang Feng, he had completely lost his mind. This is the Tang Feng you've been talking about? He's indeed very strong. He's indeed the Sons of Disaster. He made a big noise as soon as he appeared. He's even more troublesome than that old man who controls iron. Wolverine, who had joined the X-Men, pretended to be calm while smoking a cigar. In fact, a group of his own became nervous. He admired Kin, and although he knew that Kin liked Tang Feng, he ignored it, did not give up, and was still trying to find a way to dig Tang Feng's corner. Now, he was repelled in his heart, because he was frightened by the power displayed by Tang Feng. This is a big boss. Can't be offended. Really can't be offended. Lisa, have you seen that? Your brother is too powerful, too powerful. I'll just say, he's so powerful, how could a nuclear bomb kill him? In the large cafeteria of Xavier College, the big screen TV hanging on it was broadcasting Tang Feng's live broadcast, which shocked all the students in the cafeteria. There is only one impression: go out and see Emperor 4.7. As a fan of Tang Feng, Shadowcat kept shouting. In the live broadcast, there was Tang Feng's figure, and the Black Queen and others were very restless. Shadowcat ignored the other figures and kept staring at Tang Feng, shouting louder and louder. She was so excited. Brother is okay. 35 Lisa clasped her hands together. She had been worried the whole time, but she was finally relieved after seeing that Tang Feng was okay. It's Tang Feng, the rumored son of disaster, so amazing, because of the Statue of Liberty. The little naughty boy with white hair on both sides looked at the live broadcast with curiosity and shock on his face. Soon, a larger and more shocking live broadcast screen appeared. The entire world lost its voice again. and was completely shocked by what Tang Feng did. Chapter 117 belongs to the realm of mutant. Quickly, gather all the people and pass on the order. No matter how difficult it is, all the people in the coastal area will be evacuated within half an hour. Trident headquarters, under Nick Fury's emergency order, all the agents, whether it was Phil Coulson, Hawkeye, or Black Widow, or Hill as the deputy commander, were all expelled. With a bang, after everyone was sent out, Nick Fury couldn't help but bang his fist on the table in anger. He was very annoyed and looked at the live broadcast. A huge shadow on the bottom of the sea has become increasingly clear. Mutant Island has risen high into the sky. The waterfall that previously connected to the sea has disappeared, and the island floating in the sky is like a fairy tale legend. It's too much. Don't you know that if you continue, there will be an unprecedented tsunami that will affect many coastal areas? What is the purpose of doing this, even knowing that there would be such dire consequences? Is it just to show us strength? To warn us? Nick Fury growled angrily. It wasn't just Nick Fury's people who acted urgently. The armies of various countries, all countries with coastal cities in District 09, were horrified and rushed into action when they noticed the shadows rising from the bottom of the sea in the live broadcast. Is it true that what you analyzed is true? A continent has really emerged from the depths of the sea? Leaders of different countries, who have found it difficult to believe until now, have reconfirmed and asked. The answer is still the same, whether it is from the analysis of the live broadcast or the observation from the satellite. It is true and unequivocal proof that the continent that originally sank under the sea has risen to the surface. The land is sinking. Tang Feng slightly raised his right hand and manipulated gravity to raise the island to a high altitude. Immediately afterwards, his left hand held it down, as if he was pulling an invisible object. He has now used two kinds of natural disaster power at the same time. One island the shifting of the center of the earth, the other is the sinking of the earth. And he still feels that he still has the power to use another kind of natural disaster power. However, although he can still hold on, he does not have the energy to use the third kind of natural disaster power now, using the pole shift to control gravity, not only to stabilize the island floating in the air, but also to distract the rest of the planet's gravity, stabilize it, and prevent gravitational chaos from occurring. Then, use the sinking of the earth to raise a continent under the sea, and also distract the control, so as not to use too much force and raise all the continents from the bottom of the sea. If this is the case, the ocean will become land, and the original land will be submerged by the sea and become the ocean, and the real land will sink, and the end times will come. Tang Feng controlled his strength and simply raised a continent that was about 300,000 square kilometers, which was about 30 times the size of the mutant island. If it hadn't been taught by the elder for half a year, it would have grown a lot. His control was strong, and he had become a level 5 mutant. Perhaps Tang Feng would not have played so much. Since it can be done, then he has to play bigger. With Tang Feng's power, the continent that has been sinking into the sea has finally seen the light of day again. It was as if the legendary continent emerged from the sea. First, a huge shadow of endless shadows rose from the sea. After nightfall, Linger and the others were stunned. In the footage captured by the drone, they could only see the sea below. It's the shadows of the continent. Boom, boom. Then there was a huge movement that shocked people's hearts, just like the continent in the myth. After all, it broke through the sea level and emerged. In an instant, huge waves and tsunamis of hundreds of meters were continuously created by the floating continent, rolling and turbulently going in all directions. This is Jarvis, Nick Fury, all countries, and even Charles, who was in a daze, woke up and predicted that these huge waves and tsunamis would cause disasters in many coastal areas, and countless people who had no time to retreat would drown. It's just the end of the catastrophe. Oh my God, what you are doing is too big. Is this what you call a movie? Scare dead man. On the island, the White Queen only felt weak, and she sat on the ground involuntarily. Her face was shocked and at a loss, and she looked at Tang Feng's back, stunned. Roar 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 tilde. The same is true for the rest of the people. They were completely shocked by Tang Feng's generosity. Compared to the people watching the live broadcast, everyone stood by Tang Feng's side, and they could be regarded as being there, witnessing the entire process with their own eyes. Tang Feng's operation, comparable to God's means, frightened everyone. Scare? Tang Feng turned his head, tilted his head, and said with a smile, "Actually, this is the result of my careful control of my power. Do you want to see a bigger movie scene? I can satisfy you." "I don't want to." As soon as he finished speaking, after dark, Sabretooth and the others were shocked and hurriedly shouted in unison, "Ha ha ha, just kidding, although I can create a bigger scene, but I no longer have the energy to control it." 35 Also, the area of the continent below, plus this island, is enough to be a mutant's country. Tang Feng smiled maliciously, stared at the continent below, and finally voiced his plan. "Country?" The people behind him looked at each other, their eyes widened, thinking they had heard him wrong. "You want to build a kingdom of our mutants?" The Black Queen was the first to respond to 920, raising her voice unimaginably and asking for confirmation. "Yes, after so many things have happened, the situation of the mutants will become worse and worse. In this case, I will simply build a kingdom of mutants and gather all the mutants together. In this way, it doesn't matter whether it is a peaceful coexistence with humans in the end, or whether conflicts or wars occur with humans. No matter what the future holds, I have the confidence to lead the mutant family to survive and resolve all difficulties." "Guys, believe me?" Tang Feng was very serious. He finished word by word, and looked at everyone present with unwavering eyes. "Black Queen, White Queen, Linger, Twinkle, Storm, and Sabretooth, Torrent, Quicksilver, Wanda, etc." They were all very shocked. They felt excited, and they couldn't help themselves. Building a kingdom that belongs only to mutants is a dream that Magneto, Eric and Charles have been pursuing all their lives. However, due to their different ideas and different behavior styles, they entered into a conflicted with each other and held each other back, so the ideal of establishing the mutant kingdom has been far away. With Magneto, Eric's power, deterrence and ability, after so many years of hard work, he only openly occupied an island and gathered a few tens of thousands of mutants. Chapter 118 The King. Now, beyond everyone's expectations, Tang Feng said that the establishment of a country belonging to mutant and the completion of Magneto, Eric and Charles were the great things that could not be achieved in a lifetime. This kind of thing, the Black Queen and others can't imagine. Neither Magneto, Eric nor Charles have thought about it, nor do they have the confidence to do it. In particular, Mutant's current situation is a difficult time, and he just wants to get through this crisis, and no one has thought of it, even if it is a fantasy. Letter? Everyone was stunned and met Tang Feng's firm gaze and confident expression. Everyone was shocked and nodded excitedly. They were all willing to believe, not to deceive themselves, but Tang Feng's performance gives them confidence. Letting the island take off and taking out an underwater continent was the result of Tang Feng not using his full strength. This was a method comparable to that of a god. Not only that, the vampire clan that perished half a year ago, survived the impact of nuclear bombs, can control all kinds of disasters, can summon natural disasters, meteorites can be summoned at will, and solar storms are controlled by him. The gravity of the planet is under his control. These kinds of deeds, the power that Tang Feng possesses, and everything he has done have far exceeded the imagination of the world. If Tang Feng thinks that he can destroy the world and establish a country belonging to mutant, what is it? What Magneto, Eric and Charles can't do doesn't mean that Tang Feng can't do it. Even Sabretooth and others who belonged to the Brotherhood chose to forget about Magneto, Eric at this moment, but their hearts were filled with Tang Feng's shadow. In Tang Feng's words, when he said establishment, he established the dominant power of the mutant kingdom, and when he said that the shelter has the trust of the skill shelter, he directly conquered them. "You are the king." This was an excited shout that Torrent couldn't help but shout. Tears filled his eyes. He put down his dignity and bowed to Tang Feng, offering his loyalty. The kingdom of mutant that he was waiting for. He had waited for too long. Even if he followed Magneto, Eric, he could not see hope. In Tang Feng, he saw hope and the possibility of success. So from this moment on, Tang Feng is his king, the king of mutant. "As long as you can do it, you are the king." Sabretooth let out a low roar, punched Yu Hung with one hand and knelt on one knee. "King, king, 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 A voice filled with fanaticism, belief, expectation, cries of reverence, Bone Spur Man, Reborn Man, Magma Man, Multiple Man, Quick Strike and others knelt on one knee or both knees one after another, all expressing their support. The members of Hellfire, Storm, Chameleon and Sandman definitely knelt in support, shouting, "King!" Black Queen, White Queen, blinking, Linger smiled a few times, unable to contain her excitement. Her pretty face was flushed. She knelt down and shouted, "King!" Wanda looked at Tang Feng excitedly, knelt down to look, and pouted, "King!" Quicksilver looked at everyone around him, shrugged, knelt on one knee sincerely, and shouted, "King!" Everyone knelt down and shouted sincerely, "King!" This scene, which was filmed by a drone, was broadcast live, which shocked people all over the world. Since no sound was heard, they didn't know what happened. No, someone still knew the content in advance. Wait, did I hear it wrong? Are they shouting, "Wang"? Kneel down and shout at Tang Feng. In the air, a plane was flying fast, taking Tony away from the villa on the coast, and there were a few people beside him, such as Hogan, the bodyguard and driver, and Pepper Potts, who was not full of lovers, and had not even been captured. Obadiah Stanney, who sees through the villain's identity, is there. After Jarvis's reminder, Tony urgently called the nearest person and evacuated New York first. If the tsunami hits, it will spread to New City. At this time, the people in New City were no longer in the mood to watch the live broadcast. Everyone panicked to flee, the roads were blocked for a while, the whole city became noisy, and car accidents kept happening. Tony had already boarded the plane ahead of time to evacuate inland, so he was in the mood to continue watching the live broadcast. With Jarvis here, the lip language was just trivial. After Tony was shocked, he thoughtfully looked at the live broadcast and saw that the island was descending, the continent was rising above the surface, there was a gap in the center, and the descending island was embedded in it. Even if you don't see it with your own eyes, just watching the live broadcast is very shocking. The original sea is no longer a single island, but a small continent. Although the area is much smaller than that of Asia, Europe and other continents, it is not comparable to the area of some super-large archipelagos, but its essence is a continental plate rising from the bottom of the sea. Is this their purpose? To terrorize us with strength first, and then create a land on which to build the mutant kingdom. 35 hiss. Tony thought. He couldn't help but gasp. Compared to his ability to spend money, skill in making girls, and extremely clever weapon making, Tang Feng is the great one. He regarded himself as dazzling. No matter where he went, he was the center of the world and everyone was watching him. But if he was with Tang Feng, he would feel ashamed and think that he was far inferior. It's as if the comparison between mortals and gods is far from qualified. However, the proud Tony would not be willing to lag behind others, and the idea of developing a weapon strong enough to fight Tang Feng has been deeply rooted in his heart, forcing him to press forward. Boom. On Tang Feng's side, under his careful control, the island was finally embedded in the center of the continent, and he couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief, and finally there was nothing wrong. The space in the center of the continent is the space he made when he used the land to sink and take out the continent. Because this mutant island is the first, promised, island to gather mutants since the new century, it has witnessed the history of mutants' development and has great historical value. Therefore, Tang Feng did not think about discarding the island, and simply put some thought into it and merged it with the continent. Tang Feng looked around and saw that at the edge of the island, there was a space of about 2 or 3 meters, or 4 or 5 meters, in which seawater flowed, simply enclosing the island, like a moat, separating the continent. In this way, on this continent, there is a sea route around the island, forming a unique landscape. Vertical bar. Ha ha ha. From now on this is our mutants' country. Tang Feng smiled in satisfaction, then snapped his finger, looked at the drones in the distance, and said, "Control a drone here. I want to announce the establishment of the mutant kingdom. Goodbye." 35 Linger responded immediately, grabbed the remote control excitedly, and flew a drone remotely. Chapter 119 For World Peace. Hello everyone. Those of you watching the live broadcast should know me. Allow me to formally introduce myself. My name is Tang Feng and I am a mutant. I also have a nickname, which you took, and it is called Son of Calamity. I believe you have also seen the power I displayed just now, and I believe you have some idea of what mutant power is like. So, you must be very curious. What am I doing raising the island to the sky for no reason and raising a continent? Here, I officially announce to you that my intention is. Tang Feng faced the approaching drone camera shot, his expression very serious. The Black Queen and the others watched with bated breath, very nervous, announcing that Jiang's speech was about to begin. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. There is still a bit of handtail that I haven't finished. Because I raised the continent, I created an unprecedented tsunami, and if there is no accident, the coastal areas will be devastated. 55 The people living in the coastal areas must be very scared. They are busy running for their lives and should not be in the mood to watch my live broadcast. Here, I mean, don't panic, I'm here. Pray to me. If I hear your prayers, I will save you. Tang Feng suddenly slapped his forehead, just remembering the appearance. He did not rush to say the purpose, but like a magic wand, he said something like a magic wand. The Black Queen and the others are powerless to complain in their hearts. What are they selling? Can't they say Jiang's words happily first? They are so anxious and excited, but Tang Feng is in no hurry to say it, just like drinking water, can't go up or down, let it go. People should have hiccups. Tang Feng didn't pay attention to their complaints. He closed his eyes, sat cross-legged, put his hands on his knees, and turned his ears to the sides, as if he was listening. I heard the prayers of 20 cities, which is the closest to here. And the tsunami is about to arrive. Don't worry, as the son of the disaster, I will protect you. Tang Feng opened his eyes, finished speaking, waved his hand, waited for a while, and smiled confidently. Okay, the tsunami there has subsided for me. If you don't believe it, you can call your relatives in that city to check. Definitely, no matter whether you believe it or not, I won't force you anyway. If I hadn't heard your prayers, I wouldn't have helped. As I speak, 3 cities have been destroyed by huge waves and tsunamis, which is a pity, he said regretfully, but there was a smile on the corner of his mouth, because it was intentional and he had no heart to save. The 3 cities that were destroyed belonged to country R, so he would not be the savior of that nation. Then, he closed his eyes again and pretended to continue listening. In fact, the realm of detection allows him to observe the global situation, but he can't hear his prayers at all. It's just a lie. Even if he can't hear it, Tang Feng has reason to believe that no matter what, he will not be able to save the world, whoever it is, as long as the tsunami hits. Before facing the fear of drowning, he will seize a ray of hope, kneel on the ground or clasp his hands together and speak loudly. He will pray and hope to escape. He guessed right, although he could not hear it. But from the perspective of God, he could see that in coastal areas, when facing a tsunami that was about to come, many people clasped their hands together and shouted loudly, and many people ignored others. Regardless of where he was, he knelt on the spot, raised his head and shouted. Tang Feng is very satisfied with this. The purpose of showing his strength to shock and deter all countries has been achieved. The next step is to build a country and interview the leaders of various countries. If not necessary, it is best not to mock the bottom line of countries' tolerance. Therefore, he intends to quell the tsunami himself, be a savior, and save the world, while causing a disaster, while being a rescuer. Tang Feng thought about it and laughed in his heart. Only a powerful force can make him so willful. The rescued people, even if they knew that the tsunami was caused by Tang Feng, did not dare to have any resentment towards Tang Feng, who was as powerful as a god. This is the inferiority of human beings. There are very few people who have hard bones and would rather die than surrender. There are too many people in the world who pretend to be confused. The way to quell the tsunami is very simple for Tang Feng. As long as the power of natural disaster and flood is used to divert the direction of the tsunami, it is worth mentioning that Tang Feng is a bit bad. In order to better save the world, if the coastal cities are far away, they will first use the power of natural disasters and floods to make the tsunami approach the coastal area faster. and then disperse the tsunami to save the world's countless lives. The abacus, a jet, is very good. He definitely deliberately ignored the huge waves and tsunamis in country R, and let those people kneel down and pray as if they didn't see it. No matter how many people died, he didn't use the flood to sink the country under the sea. He has been considered merciful. He didn't want to cause panic in all countries because of the destruction of a country. Join hands with the enemy and fight against it at all costs. In addition to country R, many other cities and coastal areas, even New City, have seen many people see a huge wave and tsunami with a height of more than 100 meters being unleashed, and it arrived earlier than expected. Suddenly, as if there was an invisible wall in front of them, they stood still in the air, and then it was like going back in time, and it was as if the sea god was controlling the tsunami. What he saw in front of him was undoubtedly a miracle, the great power of God. Have you seen that the sons of disaster is not a human being, nor is he a mutant? His true identity should be a God living in the world. The believer who believes in God, kneeling on the ground with a frantic face, screaming crazily, and witnessing the miracle with his own eyes, has converted his faith and believes in Tang Feng wholeheartedly. There were not many believers present, and as the fanatical believers screamed, one by one the believers knelt down and prayed and screamed. Even the unbelievers, after experiencing a tsunami, their original firmness was shaken, not only because of Tang Feng's astonishment, but they also began to believe in him. Ha ha ha. Have you seen? I've said it a long time ago. With the protection of the child from the disaster, we must be fine. Look, the tsunami has receded. On a large yacht, a group of believers who fanatically believe in Tang Feng shouted at the huge rower, then knelt down and prayed sincerely. They knew that Tang Feng would appear on Mutant Island, and originally wanted to visit the shrine, but who expected that Tang Feng would make such a big commotion? As soon as he went out to sea, he encountered a huge tsunami rolling in. When they were desperate, they heard Tang Feng's words through the live broadcast and immediately prayed. A miracle happened, and the tsunami really receded. There is no doubt that they regarded it as another miracle and recorded this miracle as the contents of the Bible. Okay, the tsunami has calmed me down, so, next, I have to tell you my purpose. I hereby announce to you that the mutant kingdom will be established here. At this moment, in the live video, Tang Feng's words were heard and spread. The mutant country Charles was awake and full of tears, which was the ideal of his entire life, and he thought that until he died of old age, he could not wait for this day to come. Leaders of various countries, I believe you are watching my live broadcast, and you have also heard that I am going to build the mutant kingdom. I wonder what you think? I do not approve of the mutant bill. I also firmly disagree with your actions of arresting my compatriots everywhere and putting them under supervision. 35 So, in a month, in the presence of the Statue of Liberty, we'd better have another world conference to do these things well. For world peace. As the last words of the live video came out, the live signal was finally disconnected. This is the end of Tang Feng's live broadcast. Chapter 120 Magneto's approval. Tang Feng's live broadcast ended, but the wave caused by him is far from over. As the 1-month countdown begins, it becomes more and more intense. The first sentence of every meeting is, "What day is today?" Or, the leader of that country decided to set off and meet with Tang Feng. There is no doubt that after Tang Feng announced the establishment of the mutant country and interviewed the leaders of various countries, the entire world has been boiling. They didn't care much about the mutant country. What they cared more about was that a month later, Tang Feng and the leaders of the countries met and what the result of the meeting was. Did the meeting take place peacefully or did the talks collapse? If the conversation collapsed, everyone shuddered subconsciously, shuddered, and panicked. It is an unquestionable cruel fact that a war will break out. With the powerful strength that Tang Feng displayed, even if he used a nuclear bomb, he didn't know if he could kill him. Even if it can be killed, it is unknown how much damage it will cause to this planet under the baptism of nuclear bombs and how many people will die. The most terrifying consequence is that when the war lasted until the end, Tang Feng used the natural disaster to destroy the planet, making everyone suddenly feel cold. Thinking of the consequences of the collapse of the talks, it is difficult for everyone to accept it, so they have to pray day and night, hoping that Tang Feng and the leaders of various countries will be more restrained and rational. Impulsive for a while, regret for a lifetime. The leaders of various countries also know the seriousness of the matter, and they all look serious and serious. In a month, through the video, they do not know how many meetings have been held, discussed, and how many things have been decided. One by one a plan was proposed, and one by one it was rejected, which left them devastated and felt unprecedented pressure. If the talks with Tang Feng collapsed, they would be blamed for the war. If there is no accident, the leaders of various countries will choose to go. They could not be afraid of Tang Feng's power, so they were afraid not to go. They could not afford to lose this person, and it is also related to the majesty of a country. Their heads can be cut off, but their face cannot be lost. Among them, something happened. Tang Feng personally came out and rescued Magneto Eric neatly. In this regard, they chose to remain silent, facing Tang Feng, facing the meeting that will affect the lives of all human beings in a month, which Magneto Eric calculated. Before they knew it, Magneto Eric and Charles were nothing in their hearts, and only Tang Feng was the most worthy mutant. If they compare the power, they are right. They have become the 5th level mutant. Tang Feng is stronger than Magneto Eric and Charles, deterrent and more dangerous. If it is Magneto Eric, even if he explodes with all his strength, he can only control the magnetic field of 1 or 2 cities and control about 1,000 tons, 10,000 tons of metal. Like Tang Feng, it is impossible to lift the island and the continent to display such shocking power. Knowing this, Magneto Eric guessed a possibility. You passed the 4th level and became the 5th level mutant. Magneto Eric, who had just been rescued, saw the power displayed by Tang Feng through the recorded live video and stepped onto the continent under his feet. He saw the vastness of the continent with his own eyes. Feng asked, "That's right." Tang Feng smiled slightly at this, nodded and admitted, and there was no reason to hide it. He didn't say it before, but no one asked. Okay, then I can rest assured. I have no objection to the establishment of the mutant kingdom. Let's do it bravely, our king. Magneto Eric laughed excitedly, patted Tang Feng's shoulder heavily, no longer worried, and also admitted Tang Feng's identity as the king. He has always wanted to establish the mutant kingdom, but he knew that with only the power of the 4th level, although he can run rampant, few people can match it. But if he wants to compete with the whole world, it is still beyond his power. Together with Charles's old rival, the idea of founding a country has completely disappeared. Charles did not specifically fight against Magneto, but he knew that Mutant's ability was flawed, and even if he joined hands with Magneto, he was not absolutely invincible. He established the mutant kingdom and fought against the whole world. The result will not be good. Therefore, for them, the establishment of the mutant kingdom is just an ideal that cannot be realized in a lifetime. For Tang Feng, the strength has already been realized. All the mutants believed in him, and the mutants who had fled abroad had come to the world of mutants left one by one. They came to see Tang Feng with awe and respect, and there was no objection to him being the mutant king. 0. For Flowers Magneto no longer objected. The Brotherhood had already expressed their support. The Hellfire Mutant Club would not object. Tang Feng was their White King. The remaining mutants who have not been explicitly supported are the X-Men and the mutants who are still imprisoned in various countries. Apart from Mutant, who was imprisoned in various countries, Tang Feng set off for Xavier Academy the next day after rescuing Magneto Eric. In order to meet Charles, get the support of the X-Men, now that he wants to establish the mutant kingdom and become the mutant king, Tang Feng definitely wants to unite all the mutants. Jin, Oralo, Scott, Beast Tank, we meet again. Before coming, Tang Feng made a roar move, so when he opened the portal, when he came alone, he already saw Keen and others waiting. 0. This is what Tang Feng is familiar with, Charles's office. His arrival has not been known to the students of Xavier College for the time being, and he is in no hurry to meet his sister Lisa. You are the Golden Steel Wolf, you have admired it for a long time. 35. After Tang Feng and Qin finished their move, Roar tilted his head to look at Wolverine. the corners of his mouth raised, and he said calmly, if he had been reborn in this world, just before ability awakening, he would have been very excited to see Wolverine's idol, the idol he worshipped in his previous life. Now, after going through so many things, he has become a level 5 mutant and can kill the golden steel wolf with his fingertips. I don't have as much reputation as you. I should be the one to say that I have admired fame for a long time. Golden Steel Wolf puffed his cigar and pouted, pretending not to be nervous. His keen senses made him feel a very strong fatal threat from Tang Feng, and his hair was standing on end. If he hadn't kept his senses, he really wanted to escape. Staying away from danger is the instinct of a beast. Tang Feng, our king, you're finally here. Qin looked at Tang Feng and the Phoenix Force came out. Under the influence of the Dark Phoenix, he couldn't hold back his longing for Tang Feng and said as he walked towards Tang Feng, Jin, I'll talk about it later, take me to see Charles first. Tang Feng frowned, sensing the Phoenix Force and knowing that Qin's problem was getting worse. He put a hand on his shoulder to stop him from rushing over and said seriously, Chapter 121, The Collapse of Order. In the end, Qin stopped and did not pounce on Tang Feng. Instead, he looked straight at Tang Feng without any concealment, and led Tang Feng into the underground with Scott and others, a future base full of science fiction. Charles is sleeping in a narrow room in the base. It is made of high-strength alloys. There are various means of protection and defense. There are also guards by Qin and others. If it weren't for Tang Feng, they would not bring outsiders to see Charles. How is the professor? Tang Feng frowned as he looked at the sleeping Charles and asked, although he is still recovering, it is estimated that it will take 2 or 3 months to fully recover. Now the professor's waking time is getting longer and longer. According to the usual estimate, the professor is about to wake up, Oralo said on the side. 9:20. It seems that I arrived just in time and the professor woke up. Tang Feng was about to speak. His eyes paused, and he noticed that Charles, who was sleeping, moved his eyelids and said with a smile, Tang Feng, long time no see. Charles opened his eyes and tilted his head to look at Tang Feng, who was standing beside him, and said in a faint voice, Yes, long time no see. I didn't expect to hear about the mess you and Magneto made as soon as I came back, this time, but I'm so busy. Why don't you quickly get up and help me? Tang Feng spread his hands and said in a slightly dissatisfied tone, Ha ha ha, it's hard work for those who are capable. You are a young man again. Unlike us who are already old men, the mutant family will trouble you to take care of them in the future. Oh, old man, so old, and Eric and I have done things so badly that we really have no face-to-face with you. I'm also sorry for all my compatriots. During this time, I can only sleep here and can't help my compatriots who are being hunted down. I'm really ashamed of everyone, Charles said in embarrassment, and couldn't help bursting into tears and sighing, like a frail and dying old man. Professor, it's none of your business, it's all caused by that Magneto, who used despicable means to plot against you to get into a mess. Such a big problem, you don't have to blame yourself. 55 Scott has always respected Charles and regarded him as a father, and he couldn't bear it, and said resentfully, Scott, don't talk about this. As your teacher, no matter what, I must stand up and take everything. But now, I can only do nothing and drag you down. I can only protect myself and can't go out to rescue our compatriots. If it weren't for Tang Feng's timely appearance, the mutant family would not have had a better ending, and I would have been a sinner through the ages. Charles was very regretful. His aging hand tightly clasped Tang Feng's hand, and said gratefully, Fortunately there is you. Thank you for everything you have done for mutant. 35 This is what I should do. Tang Feng's face moved when he heard it, and he quickly said, There is no doubt that what Charles said came from the heart. As he said, he hated his own helplessness and was very grateful to Tang Feng. Tang Feng was filled with excitement, for the sake of Charles's guilt, the fact that he was an elder, and the fact that he was killed so badly. I no longer blame him and forgive him. Professor, I came here to discuss the establishment of the mutant kingdom with you. However, your current state is very bad. It's not the time to talk. I will heal you first. 9 So, Tang Feng got straight to the point. Do you have any way to cure Professor's brain trauma? Beast Tank was pleasantly surprised, and hurriedly asked first, Scott, or Olo, and Wolverine also showed surprise and anticipation. Only Kin's expression was complicated, with surprise, hatred, and murderous aura, which was the reason for Dark Phoenix's agitation. Tang Feng frowned, keenly aware that Kin's condition was getting worse and worse, and he was worried that when he was treating Charles, Dark Phoenix would suddenly break through the seal, burst out, and hurt Charles. In order to prevent any accidents, he planned to appease Kin first. Jin, look at me. 35 Tang Feng shouted, attracting everyone's attention. Kin's face was stunned, and he looked into his eyes. Dark Phoenix, I don't care what kind of hatred you have with the teacher, it is best not to try to shoot, otherwise, I will be angry and the consequences will be serious. Now I am going to heal the teacher, just watch obediently, you know? Tang Feng stared Kin in the eyes, as if he could penetrate him, seeing the existence of Dark Phoenix, and said word by word. When he finished speaking, a dangerous and oppressive aura enveloped Kin, and a strange natural disaster force quietly affected Dark Phoenix's thoughts. Even Dark Phoenix has the power of level 5, but it is still in the seal and its power is suppressed, so it has no ability to resist zero. In Dark Phoenix's mind, she admired Tang Feng, liked Tang Feng, and felt that Tang Feng's power was stronger, which was much stronger than hers. If she made him angry, the result would be miserable. Therefore, he gave up his plan to hurt Charles in front of Tang Feng, calmed down, and the consciousness hidden in Kin was no longer agitated. All of this, of course, Dark Phoenix is really obedient. Charles' eyes widened. He did not expect that Dark Phoenix, who had always been in trouble, would listen to Tang Feng's words so easily. So, he was overjoyed, no longer caring about Kin's troubles, and believed that with Tang Feng, Dark Phoenix would no longer be able to go out and do things. Only Scott and the others were dumbfounded, not knowing what Tang Feng was talking about for no reason and what Dark Phoenix was. Tang Feng did not explain. Seeing that Kin had returned to his normal appearance, he nodded in satisfaction. He placed a hand on Charles, filled with mysterious time power, and enveloped the professor, forming an energy shield that was isolated from the world. Time, disaster and chaos. Tang Feng used the power of time and carefully controlled the power. The power of time only acted on Charles, erasing the moment when he was injured. Natural disasters are always devastating natural disasters, even if the control is very strong. Tang Feng does not dare to be careless. Every time I use a natural disaster, it is like crossing a single plank bridge. The current use time is disordered in this way, and the same is true for the collapse of the natural disaster order just used on the piano. 4.7 The collapse of the natural disaster order, as the name suggests, is to reverse the various orders of the world. The order of civilization requires filial piety, and it is not possible to change children to eat. The order of society requires reading, going to work, having clear stages, and having someone to manage it. On the surface, this is the case. In fact, after understanding the essence of fate, Tang Feng has a deeper understanding of the collapse of the natural disaster order. In fact, the collapse of order can reverse people's thoughts and behaviors, so that the order that should be followed may collapse. Think deeper and develop your thinking. Water flows downwards, birds can fly, fish cannot leave the water, human beings have to give birth to children, only women can become pregnant, stones fall, etc. The above is also the order of the world, that is to say, the force of the collapse of the order of natural disasters can also be reversed. Being able to do such a thing should be the power to reverse reality. Chapter 122 Do your part. The power to reverse reality. The reality gem is this power, that is to say, Tang Feng has a reality gem in a different way. However, the two are still somewhat different. The reality gem can only reverse reality and cannot interfere with the soul and mind. The collapse of order from natural disasters is different, and even people's thoughts can be reversed. If we compare the power of the collapse of order with the power of temporal chaos, Tang Feng believes that the power of the collapse of order to reverse reality is closer to the power of destiny than temporal chaos. The power of destiny definitely contains all the power, no matter what kind of natural disaster or disaster power, It has the power of destiny. The difference is that the power of destiny is more or less. To take an analogy, the power of destiny is a drink, and other natural disasters are boiled water, all of which are soaked with some drinks, so they have the taste of drinks. That is, they have some powerful powers of destiny, but some are more and some are less. Tang Feng used the power of order collapse to reverse Dark Phoenix's thoughts, so that she could calm down. This kind of power is undoubtedly terrifying. If Tang Feng's attention is not very concentrated, when he uses the power of order collapse, his thinking will spread a little. For example, he suddenly thought that Jean is gay, Scott is a woman, and Wolverine is a onine wolf. The consequences will be terrifying, and the order will collapse, but whether you want it or not, as long as Tang Feng thinks about it, he will reverse it for you and realize it. Therefore, when Tang Feng used the power of natural disasters, he never dared to be careless. Okay. About a minute later, Tang Feng finally retracted his hand, no longer using the power of time confusion, and breathed a sigh of relief. The time of natural disasters is as dangerous as chaos, but fortunately there was no accident and Charles was treated calmly. Professor. 55 Professor. 35 As soon as Tang Feng finished the treatment, Charles' face was flushed, no longer pale. He opened his sharp eyes and slowly sat up. Scott and the others were overjoyed and shouted loudly. They even ignored what Tang Feng said to Kin earlier. Thank you, Tang Feng, what a powerful force, I feel completely cured already. With the help of Oralo, Charles sat on the wheelchair, looked at Tang Feng, and thanked him. You're welcome. It's a matter of hand. Now that you're okay, it's time to get down to business. What do you think about my establishment of the mutant kingdom? Will you help me? Tang Feng asked sternly. Charles pondered. Scott and the others were silent, waiting for the professor's answer. In their hearts, they were actually inclined to support Tang Feng. Tang Feng, before I answer, tell me the truth. Have you become a level 5 mutant? After a while, Charles asked with a serious and expectant look. Yes. Tang Feng nodded directly. Scott, Beast Tank, Wolverine, and Oralo all gasped, surprised and shocked. Only Kin remained calm. She had vaguely sensed the existence of Dark Phoenix, and from Dark Phoenix, she also learned of Tang Feng's power. Good. Just like when Magneto Eric learned that Tang Feng became a 5th level mutant, Charles raised his head and laughed, saying yes. Then, he stopped laughing, nodded towards Tang Feng, and said seriously, since you became a 5th level mutant, you demonstrated your powerful strength a few days ago, shocked everyone, and announced the establishment of the mutant kingdom in public. Talk to the leaders of the countries. There is no way out of what you have done. I, the elder, can only face it with you. Tang Feng, from now on you are the king of mutant. Please lead a mutant to survive. Charles shouted firmly and lowered his head slightly, agreeing with Tang Feng's identity as the king and willing to be an auxiliary minister. Professor's words are also my thoughts. Tang Feng, if it is you, I believe you can lead mutant to a new life. Scott stared at Tang Feng and said convincingly, I knew from the beginning that you are very powerful. Although I am not an adult yet, I also agree with you. As the king of the mutants, let us all give everyone a new tomorrow. Oralo put his hands on his hips and nodded affirmatively to Tang Feng. Tang Feng's face was full of black lines, and he complained in his heart. If he agrees, he agrees. What age is he talking about? Believe it or not, he used the power of the collapse of order to change the rule that he is only 22 years old to become a 16-year-old youth. Ha ha ha. Well, it's not easy to be a king, Tang Feng, you have to work hard to be a king. Beast Tank smiled encouragingly. You are already a king, I didn't expect you to go this far. Kin sighed in admiration. Even if the mutant country is established, the person who is the king must be Tang Feng. Jin Ganlang was smoking a cigar and said with a look of dissatisfaction. Yes, that's right, the person who is the king can only be me. It was me who shocked everyone by displaying my power, it was me who announced the establishment of the mutant kingdom. And it was me who dug out a continent from the bottom of the sea as our new continent. I also met with leaders of various countries to take care of all the difficulties. More importantly, only I can be recognized by everyone. and only I have the qualifications, with this strength, to become the king of mutant. Tang Feng was unceremonious and said word by word. Golden Steel Wolf looked at Tang Feng and fell silent. Even with his wolf nature, he had to admit that what Tang Feng said was not wrong. If Magneto Eric were to become the king, the students of the Xavier School, the X-Men, Hellfire Club, Tang Feng and others, many mutants would not accept it. If it is Charles, Brotherhood, who advocates extreme racism, there are also many mutants who can't stand the weakness of the professor, so they will not be convinced. The Black Queen is even less likely to be king. 920 counting back and forth, to establish the mutant kingdom, only Tang Feng is the king, and everyone can accept it. In this way, the matter is settled. The result of Tang Feng coming to the Xavier School ended perfectly, with the support of Charles, including all the X-Men. Afterwards, Charles personally summoned all the students of the academy, publicly announced that he would join the mutant kingdom, and supported Tang Feng's decision to become king. On this day, the Xavier Academy was very lively. Roars cheers kept coming. Listen carefully. All the roar shouted, "King, King, King," or Tang Feng, Tang Feng, Tang Feng, or it's Son of Disaster, Son of Disaster, Son of Disaster. It was no accident that Tang Feng got the support of all his students. Tang Feng's good mood could not help but show on his face. He was very satisfied. After so much effort, it was finally not in vain, and no one jumped out to oppose him. For all the mutants, the situation has always been bad, because the establishment of the mutant law is even more difficult. With Tang Feng's protection, the establishment of a country belonging to the mutants, no idiot will oppose it. The bustle of the day passed and the night came. Tang Feng was not in a hurry to return, but stayed overnight, talked to his sister Lisa, and then went back. The next thing to do is to build the mutant kingdom. Even with the help of Magneto Eric, Charles and others, it will be very busy. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123. Tony, do you crave power, brother? Where did you go during the half year you disappeared? I'm very worried. Sorry to worry you, I've been in the Himalayas for the past 6 months. 35. Why did you stay in the Himalayas? Were you injured by a nuclear bomb and recovered for so long? 35. Ah, is it? Is it really like that? No, how could a nuclear bomb hurt me? There is indeed a wizard organization hidden in the Himalayas, and I went there to study for half a year. Wow, wizard organization? Is it the legendary wizard? Did you learn magic? Is that so, brother? The same can be said, you see. 55. In the evening, Tang Feng reunited with Lisa, and Shadow Cat also came over cheekily. He smiled and drew a portal out of thin air with Slingring's right hand. This is the space magic I learned. It's called a portal, and on the other side is New City. 35. Tang Feng pointed at the portal and motioned for the two women to enter. Lisa and Shadow Cat were still shouting excitedly, very curious, but also afraid of the unknown. They held hands, as if they were exploring. They walked a little closer to the portal and cautiously put their hands in. The hand that entered the portal waved. No problem. They looked at each other, and finally mustered the courage to enter the portal. Really in New York City. 35. Lisa, look, we're standing on the Stark building right now. Yeah, stand so tall and look so far. 35. As soon as the two girls walked out, they stood on the top of the Stark building and sighed happily. Ha ha ha, do you want to stand taller and be more exciting? Tang Feng came behind the two girls and said with a wicked smile. Think, what? Shadow Cat didn't even think about it. Her eyes flashed with anticipation. Seeing this, Lisa didn't refuse, and looked at Tang Feng in anticipation. That's it. Get ready. The exciting fall begins. Tang Feng smiled, put his hands behind the two girls, and pushed them down the Stark building. Ah! No coincidence. The two girls let out a deathly scream. The fear of falling, which scared them would only cause them to close their eyes tightly and continue to scream. Ha ha ha, don't worry, open your eyes. With me, nothing will happen. Tang Feng continued to open the portal, gathered the two girls, and carried them back into the sky until they reached the clouds, and then fell freely. In order to allow them to open their eyes, Tang Feng manipulated the calamity to prop up the defensive cover outside, not flying with the two girls, just so that they could avoid the strong wind blowing in their faces and resist the cold air current. It's so exciting, we are in Phi. No matter how much we fall, we won't die. Brother, you are too bad, you should have told me in advance, you scared me. After being appeased by Tang Feng, the two girls finally opened their eyes bravely. As the portal opened and the situation of repeatedly falling, they gradually became less scared. They dared to enjoy the excitement. Ha ha ha, fly. Seeing that they had adapted, Tang Feng pulled them with both hands, spun them violently, and began to spin, fly, or other various tricks. The two girls only felt dizzy and screamed again and again. What happened that night was destined to be unforgettable for them. In the middle of the night, the two girls were tired from playing. It was because they had endured too much stimulation and couldn't hold back their spirits. Finally, when they sat in the Stark building with Tang Feng and looked at the beautiful night view of New City, they buried their heads in their room. In his arms, she fell into a deep sleep. Tang Feng smiled helplessly, hugged the two girls one in each hand, opened the portal, was about to leave, returned to Xavier Academy, and settled them in. I really didn't expect that. Although Shadow Cat is still young, her figure is quite predictable. Thinking in my heart, I stopped and looked towards the direction of the elevator. Ding! The elevator went up. Tony walked out of it, wearing sunglasses, handsome and calm. And it was no coincidence that Tang Feng appeared here. Are you leaving? I'm the owner of this building anyway. You've been messing around here for so long tonight. Aren't you going to greet me, Roar? King of the dignified mutant, wouldn't it be so rude? Tony took off his sunglasses. Even if he knew Tang Feng's power and cold-blooded methods, he couldn't control his usual style, and his words were provocative. Tony Stark. Tang Feng tilted his head to look at him. Although his face was calm, it was not full of his keen sense. Tony was actually afraid of him and panicked. Since you know me, you dare to appear in front of me and provoke me as soon as you speak. Aren't you afraid? Do you want to live? Tang Feng's light words undoubtedly surprised Tony. His face twitched, and he felt very regretful. He didn't know if he was fascinated. Through Jarvis's discovery, he knew the story of Tang Feng's accidental appearance in the Stark building. He couldn't restrain his curiosity and chose to see Tang Feng. It's all pretentious, proud mentality, provoked things. Tony beat the drum in his heart, and with the preparation in his heart, perhaps his little life would be in danger. In this way, he will give in. Even if he dies, he will not be ashamed. Vertical bar joke. I am Tony Stark, the smartest genius. I can see whoever I want. Even if it is you, I am no different from anyone else. Why should I be afraid of you? I'm standing in front of you now, and kill me if I can. Tony stood firmly in front of Tang Feng, staring at him without showing weakness. Tang Feng squinted his eyes and walked over to the past. Tony suppressed the panic in his heart. His head could be broken. His demeanor could not be spoiled. He also bit his head, leaned down and looked Tang Feng straight in the eyes. The two looked at each other. The scene fell silent, and the solemn atmosphere was stifling. You are very good. Although you are afraid of death, you are not afraid of death. You are indeed Tony Stark. After a long time, Tang Feng first broke the silence and praised. Wait, what did you say? You say I am afraid of death? It's funny, I am not afraid of death. Tony was very proud when he heard Tang Feng's praise, but he wanted to save face and retorted while lighting a cigar. Promise. Tang Feng gave him a funny look. I don't think it's a good cover. Whose body trembles slightly in fear. You're right. After spending a night in your building, you shouldn't just leave like that. Then, okay, I'll give you something. Tell me, do you want power? Tang Feng looked straight at Tony and asked in a seductive tone. Tony's face froze for a moment, then Roar sucked heavily, no longer calm. What do you mean? Do you want to give him power? If it's someone else, he doesn't believe it at all. But if it's Tang Feng, it's another matter. There is a chance. After all, it is the destruction of the vampire family, the establishment of the mutant kingdom, and the children of disasters who can fight against the entire world. Chapter 124 No more regrets. No, I don't want to. Tony had a momentary heartbeat, hesitated, but soon firmed up his resolve. Even if he yearned for power, he obtained it by himself and would not rely on Tang Feng's charity. Tang Feng secretly praised him, as expected of the future Iron Man, and Tony's performance did not disappoint him at the unexpected meeting that night, which completely coincided with the image of Iron Man in his mind. Whether it's up to you, since I want to give it to you, I will honestly accept it. Tang Feng made up his mind, raised his eyebrows, walked to Tony, and before he could react in horror, he pointed between his eyebrows. Calamity time chaos is used again. Tony's face was completely stunned, and suddenly a flashing scene appeared in front of him. Many images could not be seen clearly. He suddenly stopped. Finally he saw a scene. It was an image of a golden and red Iron Man appearing in the Middle East against a group of terrorists. Immediately afterwards, the screen flickered and his appearance appeared. He held a press conference, very proud, and announced to the crowd, "I am Iron Man." When Tony was about to continue watching, the image disappeared. He came back to his senses and saw that Tang Feng had just withdrawn his hand. "The image you saw just now is real. It is me who used the power of time to let you see a little of your future. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Come on, awakening, Iron Man." 923 On this planet except her, no one is my opponent. I already feel an invincible loneliness. I hope you can bring me some fun when you become Iron Man. Tang Feng opened the portal, with a smile of anticipation, walked into the portal with the two women in his arms, and disappeared. Is that really the future me? Is that steel robot me? This is the weapon I will make in the future? Can it fight Tang Feng? My future is called Iron Man. 35 Tony stood on the building. The wind was blowing, his eyes were blank, and he didn't recover for a long time. Although I told myself that it was fake, it might be Tang Feng's scam. However, he vaguely believed that it was true, because the new weapon he wanted to develop was exactly the idea of steel battlesuits. The first time he saw the steel battlesuit of the future, he told himself in his heart that this was the new weapon he wanted to develop. Originally, because of Tang Feng's pressure, Tony already had the idea of developing a steel battlesuit in advance. After seeing the image of the future, it was as if he had been empowered by an expert. Iron Man, he will be born earlier than the original time. Jarvis, buy me these. Work. Even in the middle of the night, Tony had no heart to sleep, and as soon as he returned to the house, he began to develop the steel battlesuit non-stop. With his brilliant mind, as long as he knows the idea of the battlesuit, he will be able to develop the steel battlesuit in the future. Steel, he can develop it. Tang Feng does not expect or care about the birth of Iron Man. No matter how many generations of iron battlesuits Tony has developed, they will never threaten him. The gears of destiny have begun to turn, and the wonderful future is accelerating the process. He took the two girls back to the dormitory, then walked out the door, closed the door, looked up at the bright moonlight, and said softly, "Even if he is not qualified to use the real power of destiny, he is already a 5th level power, and has more contact and understanding of destiny." In Tony, he saw the trajectory of destiny. As long as there is a change in Tony, it will affect the entire world. Just like a butterfly gently gliding, it can affect faraway places. Therefore, the originally fixed trajectory of destiny has changed, and perhaps the development of the plot will be different from that in the movie. Whether it is a good or bad thing, Tang Feng is not sure. He only knows that the unknown is the challenge. Have you not slept yet? I just finished the noodles. Do you want to eat? Tang Feng was about to return to the bedroom he had arranged for him when he fell asleep when he ran into Qin. After hearing her invitation, he could sense that Dark Phoenix was about to move, affecting Qin's behavior. He blinked, not knowing what would happen when he went to eat noodles, so it was interesting. It's okay, I was just hungry. Tang Feng touched his stomach with a smile, followed Qin, and went back to his room. Then, as expected, as soon as the door was closed, Qin couldn't wait to jump in. Tang Feng is not someone who can't walk when he sees beautiful women, but if it's Qin, It's different. He always cherishes Kin. Since the contact that night, he has remembered from time to time, which is a pity. Therefore, in order to make up for the regrets he once had, he gave up being a gentleman. No matter what happened, he would be happy for a lifetime if he did it first, and he would regret it for the rest of his life if he didn't. For a long time, the song ends. Tang Feng and Kin hugged each other, silent for a while. Take it as if it didn't happen tonight. I know you already have a girlfriend, so I won't bother you. As Kin stood up and got dressed, he said unhappily, "You want to take advantage of people and not acknowledge people? That's not right." Tang Feng hugged Kin from behind and chuckled. "You don't want to part with me? Well, I don't want to either. Let me kill your girlfriend, and then I will love you well." Kin changed his face. He looked at Tang Feng affectionately, and what he said made people feel cold. "Don't think about this kind of thing, Dark Phoenix. I warn you, you can be with me if you want, as long as you are obedient and don't hurt those close to me. Do you know?" Tang Feng also changed his face. Calamity boiled. He lifted Kin's chin with one hand, and warned coldly, He. Why, they are so weak, only I am worthy of you. You only need me by your side." Having temporarily suppressed Kin's consciousness, Dark Phoenix smiled and asked inexplicably, "This is your idea, not mine. What I want to do, I don't need you to teach me, I just need to be obedient." Tang Feng said, knowing that Dark Phoenix would not be so obedient, so he used order collapse to reverse reality and reverse Dark Phoenix and Kin's consciousness. Originally, Dark Phoenix's consciousness was strong and had the upper hand, and the piano was suppressed. But this fact changed. Jean's consciousness prevailed, and Dark Phoenix was suppressed instead. "Ah, what power is this?" "No, I was wrong." Before Dark Phoenix could scream, it was suppressed by Kin's consciousness, and Kin was finally able to control his behavior and thoughts. "Am I back to normal?" As soon as Kin regained consciousness, he asked blankly. Chapter 125, Kin's Decision. The next morning, Kin woke Tang Feng up and then performed his favorite exercise. "You don't have to worry, with me, Dark Phoenix can no longer affect you. As long as you can let down your guard, you can spend a little time and integrate with Dark Phoenix's consciousness. In this way, you can truly have the strength of Phoenix of the 5th level, and I am at the same level, and then you will have a new life. As for the consequences of consciousness integration, you don't have to worry about losing yourself. In the end, Dark Phoenix is your second personality and you. 99 Like the two sides of good and evil, you are the good side, Dark Phoenix is the evil side, and the two are one, and you are a complete person. So, you who integrated Dark Phoenix are still you. While eating breakfast, Tang Feng noticed a faint sadness on Kin's face. He knew why she was worried, and said comfortingly. Then, he changed his tone and said sternly, "Dark Phoenix, I believe you have heard my words. If you don't want to completely disappear, just be honest and don't resist Heckin's integration." When Kin heard Tang Feng's words, he relaxed his suppression of Dark Phoenix, allowing it to temporarily leave. "You are so heartless. I love you so much. Why do you want to be a coward, Kin? Why won't you let me integrate your consciousness?" Dark Phoenix asked angrily. "You can't. After all, you are just Kin's sub-personality. If you integrate Kin's main personality, you will completely erase Kin's consciousness. On the contrary, Kin integrates your consciousness, but it won't kill you. It just reintegrates you into Kin and makes Kin regain its vicious side. For example, when you integrate, Kin's usual kindness and peaceful thoughts represent Kin. When you are angry and irritable, and want to destroy everything, it represents your thoughts. So, you will not disappear, and Kin will not return to the 3rd level mutant who was sealed with power before. They have already influenced each other, and the integration consciousness is your new life." Tang Feng's words silenced Kin and Dark Phoenix. "I agree to the integration, the previous self, because my power is sealed, coupled with Dark Phoenix's interference, has been living in a daze. Life seems to be sleepwalking, and it feels unreal." Kin fixed his gaze, and after speaking, he relaxed his suppression again and let Dark Phoenix come out to see what he chose. Dark Phoenix was silent for a moment, sighed, and said, "If you refuse, cruel man, you must erase my consciousness." The contrast completely disappears, and the new student after the integration will also have my will, so I will not resist the integration anymore. After Dark Phoenix finished speaking, she accepted her fate, her consciousness retracted, and began to give up resistance and let Kin integrate. At this moment, Kin felt Dark Phoenix's anger, the thought of wanting to destroy everything, and the deeper influence, such as love for Tang Feng. The two add up and become deeper. Even if there is no interference from Dark Phoenix, Kin has a good impression of such an excellent Tang Feng, and she also likes him. If it weren't for Tang Feng already having a girlfriend, she would not at all refuse to have Tang Feng as a boyfriend. Last night, under the influence of Dark Phoenix, she finally had a relationship with Tang Feng. She didn't regret it, she only regretted why she didn't become Tang Feng's girlfriend first. She originally wanted to pretend that nothing had happened, but because Dark Phoenix came out to cause trouble again, she suppressed Tang Feng. This was how, after waking up again, she no longer rushed to deal with the two people's troubles, but instead asked for Dark Phoenix. Tang Feng's answer was to let them integrate. Regarding this decision, Kin couldn't decide for a while last night, hesitated a lot, and then fell asleep again under Tang Feng's deadly face. Until now, after another explanation from Tang Feng, I finally made a decision. Tang Feng was having breakfast and saw that Kin had returned to normal. The hidden Phoenix Force slowly infiltrated with the progress of Dark Phoenix integration, and finally allowed Kin to take control. Because of this, the power of Kin's control is getting stronger and stronger and is approaching the 4th level. Psychic powers have also changed, beginning to acquire the characteristics of psychokinesis. Is this my original power? Jean raised her hand curiously, and a fork floated in the air under her control. That's right, this is the true power of the Phoenix. Psychokinesis is not its entire power. When you truly reach the 5th level, you can control molecules and break down all substances. Tang Feng said, "Really? So my strength is that strong? If I can play with the true strength of the Phoenix, can I beat you?" Kin was looking forward to it and suddenly asked in a provocative tone, "Ha ha ha, impossible. No matter how strong you are, I will always be stronger than you." "Definitely, not absolutely. In that kind of sports, you might have a chance to beat me." 0. Ask for flowers. Tang Feng was stunned for a moment, then laughed a few times, and said something with a mocking smile. Kin rolled her eyes and understood the meaning of the words. With her nose wrinkled, she said unconvincedly, "Don't say it so confident. How do you know if you haven't called it? Before that, tonight I must beat you in that aspect first." 6. Okay, I look forward to it. However, I am leaving Xavier Academy today. Do you want to leave with me first? Tang Feng shook his head with a smile and said, "There is no unusual change in the strange Kin. She is integrating the consciousness of Dark Phoenix, and from now on, she will have some of the temperament of Dark Phoenix in her behavior, speech, and personality. Moreover, because of the integration of Dark Phoenix, her love for him has also deepened, and Kin has already loved him wholeheartedly and can no longer be separated from him even if it is shared with other women." "Are you leaving today? Then let me leave you first," Kin said reluctantly. She doesn't plan to go to the mutant continent with Tang Feng like this. She will prepare to move with Charles and others, lead all the students, and then go to the new continent that belongs to mutant. "Okay, I'm waiting for you in the new world." Tang Feng shrugged, not forcing Kin. Anyway, Kin is already his woman, and in the future, there will be time to get along, and there is no need to worry about the long-term relationship between the children. After eating breakfast, bidding farewell to Kin, bidding farewell to his sister Lisa, and bidding farewell to Charles and others, Tang Feng opened the portal and returned to the new continent. Tang Feng did not bring Lisa back first. She already had a group of friends in Xavier College and wanted to leave with everyone. Tang Feng did not force her, he just let her decide. "My king, you are finally back." This is the basic construction plan of the new world. This is the road planning plan. This is the simulated panorama of the future city. This is the As soon as Tang Feng walked out of the portal, his face was stunned, the corners of his mouth twitched, and he was surrounded by the White Queen, the Black Queen and others. and the documents were handed to him one by one. At that moment, he felt like the world was spinning, and he felt that the future was hopeless. Is this his future life? Sitting on the throne, busy with all kinds of things all day long, with no free time. This is very difficult. Tang Feng is very regretful. Is there any medicine for regret in the world? Spoon. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.